Brother, when you go back you must make more babies. Remember, you have to try hard. On the devastated Earth, only 2 men remained. One was Chen Hao with black hair, the other was Zhou Ting with white hair. They were close brothers. But now Zhou Ting was nearing death, his time was running out. So in the future, only Chen Hao would be left on Earth. Chen Hao said nothing, just quietly gazed at this world of water. A world without land, only endless oceans. In 2047 of the Chinese calendar, a terrifying meteorite struck Earth. But its most horrifying aspect was not its hardness. It was made of the softest substance in the world. Water. When a water droplet the size of the moon crashed onto Earth's surface, all human technology seemed insignificant and powerless. Sea levels rose rapidly, torrential rain fell non-stop for 3 months, and monstrous waves, as high as 20 stories, crashed down. Under such terrifying environmental mutation, every city in the world was submerged. The extinction rate of living creatures reached a staggering 97. The human population plummeted to less than 100 million. But more terrifying things were yet to come. Because inside that water meteorite were vast amounts of radioactive substances directly triggering massive biological mutations. Thus the remaining humans were constantly being slaughtered by mutated creatures until only Chen Hao and Zhou Ting were left. Fortunately, mutations occurred not only in other creatures. Chen Hao and Zhou Ting also mutated. Chen Hao awakened spatial powers. Zhou Ting awakened temporal powers. Zhou Ting spoke, his breath growing weaker. Howzy, I'm serious. When you go back, make more babies. Only by producing enough helpers can you change this situation. It's not that easy. Chen Hao gave a bitter smile. You know, the more powerful the psychic, the lower the fertility rate. That's why I told you. You have to make more babies. If you try often enough, you're bound to have several powerful psychics, and together we can change the future of human extinction. Zhou Ting grew more excited as he spoke, then suddenly coughed up a mouthful of blood. Chen Hao knew Zhou Ting's time was almost up, so he agreed. Fine. I remember. When I go back, I will make many babies. Until I produce enough helpers to change the future of human extinction. The future of humanity is in your hands. Hearing that Chen Hao finally agreed to make more babies, Zhou Ting smiled knowingly, then unfolded his time domain, going all out. He was going to send Chen Hao back to 1 month before the disaster. How's he? Remember, due to the effect of time reversal, your powers will regress. But I will help you retain the awakened state of your powers. You'll need to develop them anew. No problem. I wasn't satisfied with my current power level anyway. Redeveloping will make it stronger. And one more thing. You must live well. This life has been too bitter for you. So in the next life you have to live brilliantly. Okay, I promise. Also, don't mess with my little sister. If you absolutely must, then make sure you never break her heart. If I have a choice, I won't touch her. You son of a bitch. You're looking down on my sister, aren't you? I respect it. Fine. Anyway, it's all up to you, Howzy. You leave everything to me. Chen Hao smiled gently at Zhou. Zhou Ting returned the salute. Then, eroded by the river of time, his body gradually dissolved into nothingness until he completely vanished. This was the price of time reversal, life itself. Aeons in a lifetime power. So Chen Hao knew that this time he could only succeed. He could not fail. So this is the river of time. Chen Hao watched the rapidly receding lights and shadows. These flickering images were all of his past life. Growing up harshly under the abuse of his foster parents. Struggling to escape the clutches of beastly neighbors. Constantly evolving amid traps set by other psychics. Until he finally grew into the strongest psychic, only to suddenly realize that besides himself there were no other humans left on Earth. Chen Hao suddenly woke up with a start. In his own bed. Then he looked around the room in confusion. This feeling, like waking from a nap to find a lifetime had passed. Wah! What's going on? Chen Hao's heart pounded wildly. But his body seemed pinned to the bed, unable to get up for a moment. 30 seconds later, Chen Hao sat up from the bed, drenched in sweat. What happened? Was everything I just saw a dream? Chen Hao supported his forehead, panting heavily. Because of time reversal, he couldn't tell if everything he experienced was a dream, or had it really happened. But soon Chen Hao was certain it was not a dream, because the pain was still vivid. No, it's not a dream. I remember clearly, when there was no water, my foster parents treated me like a can of soda. They drained my blood every day to drink. After I barely escaped, those beastly neighbors tried to treat me as food. They hunted me by every means, beating me black and blue. If I hadn't awakened my powers and escaped, I would have become someone's meal long ago. How could these painful experiences be fake? Chen Hao roared hysterically. The moment he thought of those who abused him, his flames of revenge burned fiercely. But Chen Hao also did not forget. The apocalypse. It was coming soon. So he had to prepare to face the imminent doom. So fearing he might get bored, it was perfectly reasonable to prepare some pastimes right. He hoarded over 1,000 kinds of entertainment items, including, today is August 7th, 1 month until the apocalypse. It stretched 109 meters in length with a maximum width of 18 meters. Primarily designed for daily living, it was equipped with a living room, so 100 million couldn't buy a single bottle of cola. Chen Hao finished the whole bottle in one breath, then calmed down a little, sitting on the sofa to plan his next move. I remember that in my current identity, I should still be an employee of a yacht rental company with poor financial conditions. Thinking of this, Chen Hao couldn't help furrowing his brows. In his previous life, because his foster parents wanted to marry off their biological daughter Lin Yushan into a wealthy family, they asked Chen Hao to work at a yacht rental company, since only rich people could afford yachts. But even though he mingled with rich second generation, his own salary was low. Only 3,000 yuan base pay per month, mainly relying on commissions. So now Chen Hao's apartment was rented, his phone was on installments, and even the IMA electric scooter downstairs was secondhand. Even my savings are only 5 digits starting with a 2. Chen Hao looked at his bank balance and wanted to slap his past self. Because in those years, the less the Lin family valued him, the more he tried to please them. So he worked hard buying houses and cars for the Lin family. In return, the Lin family kicked him out with just one sentence: "Your brother is getting married. Your sister-in-law says it's inconvenient to have you at home." Poor Chen Hao still cherished some affection and rented an apartment in the same complex. But the Lin family's attitude remained: "Remember to pay our property fees and utilities. Oh, and next month we're going on a family vacation. Transfer us to 0 yuan. And remember to come walk." He was treated worse than a dog. Chen Hao sneered. Good thing the year-end bonus came in yesterday, otherwise even the last 2 in my card would be transferred to those Lin bastards. But with only this little money, even if I want to prepare in advance, it's beyond my means. And this apartment can't store much. Chen Hao sighed helplessly as he looked at his rented apartment. Top floor, 2 bedrooms, 1 living room. Perfectly matching the requirement of cold winters and hot summers. If it weren't for the fact that he also wrote novels as a side hustle, and specifically chose a small 2-bedroom layout, his current place would be even smaller. 80 square meters total. Even if I pack it full, it'd only last a few months. It was the first time Chen Hao felt that living alone in a 2-bedroom wasn't excessive, but rather pitiful. I really should get a bigger place. What now? Do I need to spend money to rent a larger apartment? Just as the thought crossed his mind, he slapped his forehead. Geez, the time reversal made me dumb. I'm a spatial ability awakener. Why should I worry about storage? Chen Hao immediately opened his own space. Boundless and vast, capable of containing everything. This was because in his previous life, the meteorites carried massive amounts of cosmic radiation, which caused the fragile human species to directly undergo mutation. But only some people mutated. The vast majority died. But even those who mutated could not escape the fate of death in the end. Because although they mutated, they were still not strong enough. So they could only die at the hands of mutated creatures. And I, possessing the strongest ability, survived until the very end. Chen Hao revealed a confident smile. If it were just an ordinary spatial ability, it could not be called the strongest. But what if his spatial ability could also create objects? Anything placed inside could be perfectly replicated. This was the divine power belonging to a creator. So Chen Hao calmly tossed a bottle of cola into the creation space, and with just a light thought, the cola in the space instantly changed from 1 bottle to 2 bottles. And such an incredible ability only consumed Chen Hao's physical strength and mental energy. Very good, the proficiency of the ability is still there, but the power has regressed to the initial state. I just need to develop it again. Moreover, it's so great to have awakened the ability at this time. Because in his previous life, Chen Hao awakened his ability only after the apocalypse arrived. Developing the creation function only occurred after some time into the apocalypse. So although he possessed a vast space, there was nothing in it. It was almost useless. But in this life, Chen Hao awakened his ability before the apocalypse, and precisely 1 month before. Meaning Chen Hao had 30 days to stockpile massive amounts of supplies. First, we must ensure basic food and drink, then entertainment. The order must not be mistaken. It must be known that with the apocalyptic rain, the cosmic radiation from the meteorites fully entered the global water cycle, contaminating and destroying the land, making it impossible to produce crops. Against this backdrop, the further it went, the fewer supplies became, and the more frenzied the competition grew, to the point where even 1 bottle of water could lead to murder and robbery. So whoever could possess a vast amount of supplies could become a regional overlord. Even if ambitious enough, it wouldn't be impossible to become the world's ruler. Yet Chen Hao had little interest in this, because even if he conquered the world, it wouldn't change the eventual extinction of humanity. So finding many high-quality goddesses and having them bear powerful offspring was the only way to save humanity. But this process might take decades. So I must ensure a quality life, otherwise it would be too boring. Chen Hao thought thoughtfully. People need novelty after all. If every day they only ate boiled water with plain rice, what fun would there be even living for 100 years? Indeed, I have to find a way to get rich quick, otherwise I won't be able to gather supplies, and will end up living the same miserable life as before. Chen Hao frowned in deep thought. Then a flash of inspiration struck. Immediately, he rushed like crazy into the lottery station in the neighborhood. How many scratch-off tickets do you have? He'll take them all. Off. The girl selling lottery tickets was startled by him. Oh. All of them. Yes. However many you have, I want them all. Even the 5 yuan and 10 yuan ones. That would cost tens of thousands. He'll take them all. Chen Hao directly scanned the code to pay. If money was insufficient, he directly opened Huabei and Jiabei to borrow the full limit to buy scratch-off tickets. But this wasn't Chen Hao going mad. Rather, in his previous life, a huge gossip broke out in the neighborhood group. Someone in the community had scratched a 5 million yuan scratch-off ticket at this lottery station. Although everyone knows that scratch-off tickets are just a tax on stupidity, and it's impossible to hit a big prize. Yet somehow a 5 million yuan grand prize really appeared. Some speculated that a lottery employee had made a mistake in production, thus creating this 5 million yuan ticket. But this gossip wasn't over. It was just the beginning. Because on the very night this person scratched out 5 million. A low-key Hongqi sedan quietly drove into their community, found the person who scratched the 5 million and bought that scratch-off ticket for 8 million yuan. 8 million to buy a 5 million ticket. And that 5 million hasn't even paid taxes. After taxes, it's at most 4 million. So what's the nature of this? Everyone understands. 2 words. Money laundering. Such things were not unfamiliar to Chen Hao, who had worked in the circle of rich second-generation kids. So Chen Hao had to get that scratch-off ticket, even if it cost him 5,000 or 1,000. But to outsiders, Chen Hao's current behavior seemed truly insane. Wow, what's wrong with that guy buying tens of thousands in scratch-offs at once? Psycho, probably doing some live stream to attract attention, right? I can't see him streaming. No stream. Then he's truly crazy. At least streaming could earn some money. Exactly. Hey Yushan, isn't that your brother Chen Hao? Outside the lottery station. 2 elegantly dressed girls passed by, both with curvaceous figures and wearing light luxury brand clothes exuding an urban goddess vibe. Lin Yushan, who scored about 80 in looks, immediately showed a face full of disgust upon hearing the name Chen Hao. What brother? He's just a dog in our family. Even though he's a dog in your family, he's still a money-making dog and quite handsome. Want to go say hi? The girlfriend Wang Qian, who scored only 75 in looks, said this. Over the years following Lin Yushan, Wang Qian had reaped plenty of benefits, essentially bleeding Chen Hao dry. So she had always been looking for a chance to get close to Chen Hao and suck his blood, directly avoiding Lin Yushan's middleman markup. She wasn't a good person either. But Lin Yushan directly refused, because in her eyes, why would the owner greet a dog? FCK, you're greeting. Damn it, he's been asked to introduce a rich second generation to me for years and hasn't shown a shadow. Let's go ignore him. Lin Yushan cursed grumpily. She was about to leave with Wang Qian when they heard a loud laugh from the lottery. Ha! 5 million. I want it. Hearing these words, Lin Yushan's feet immediately refused to move. 5 million. Not too much, but not too little either. At least it's a number that ordinary people can't earn in a lifetime, including Lin Yushan and Wang Qian. So Lin Yushan immediately said with glittering eyes, Quick! Quick! Come with me to greet my brother. Let him give me that 5 million. Ha ha ha. 5 million. I've really won 5 million. Chen Hao shouted with laughter, showing no intention of keeping a low profile. In truth, he did it on purpose. A 5 million yuan scratch card wasn't like a small win of 50 or 100 yuan that could be cashed directly at the lottery station. A prize of such magnitude had to be reported by the station to the distributor and then to the local administrative authority. The whole process would take at least half a month. Chen Hao simply couldn't wait that long. So he was doing this to spread the news of his 5 million win to reach the ears of those who wanted to buy the scratch card. Chen Hao, what's got you so happy? Lin Yushan pretended to pass by dragging her best friend Wang Qian along to greet him, feigning complete ignorance. Wang Qian chimed in with a blunt demeanor. Chen Hao, Yushan saw you from afar and insisted on dragging me over to find you. I refused and she got mad at me. Isn't that ridiculous, ha ha? Oh, is that so? Chen Hao replied indifferently, not even bothering to glance at Lin Yushan. He had a score to settle with this woman and the Lin family, and it would be done slowly. What pleasure was there in a quick kill? It would be over in a second, utterly unsatisfying. He had to lay the groundwork first, slowly torment them, and when the feeling reached its peak, end it ruthlessly, without mercy. That was true satisfaction. But Chen Hao's cold attitude instantly made Lin Yushan sense danger. In the past, if she sent a message at 2:30 a.m., he would reply, instantly acting like a total simp. What was wrong today? So Lin Yushan gently flicked her hair. Bro, it's been a while since we had a meal together, hasn't it? How about dinner tonight? A confident smirk curled at the corner of her mouth. In 20 years of knowing him, she knew exactly how to handle. A single call of bro was enough to make him lay down his life for her. Unfortunately, that tactic worked in the past, but now, it was a joke. Chen Hao said coldly, I'm busy. Lin Yushan's face turned green. She never imagined he would dare speak to her like that. This was rebellion. But remembering the 5 million wasn't hers, yet she suppressed her anger and put on a pitiful, "Bro, why are you so mean? Don't you like me anymore? Don't you want me as your sister anymore? I'm not your brother, and you're not my sister." Chen Hao said with disgust, thinking about how he had given his true heart only to be used like a fool all these years. It made him sick, realizing that her cash cow was about to run away, and with 5 million in tow, Lin Yushan panicked. But as a goddess, how could she personally stoop to a fight with Chen Hao? That would tarnish her image, and she still planned to marry into high society. So she quickly shot Wang Qian a look. Wang Qian understood instantly. That was their dynamic. Wang Qian played the shrew, while Lin Yushan picked up the tab for meals. One stayed ethereal, the other got free food. Everyone got what they wanted. So Wang Qian immediately acted as the loyal friend. Chen Hao, what kind of attitude is that? Just because you've got 5 million, you're going to abandon your parents? And your brothers and sisters? Are you even human? Qian, don't say that. Lin Yushan put on a pitiful act, tugging at Wang Qian's sleeve to stop her from defending her. It instantly drew everyone's attention. People were already envious of the rich, and now with a juicy scandal they all piled on. Exactly. This young man just won the lottery and won't even acknowledge his siblings. He's not human. So what if he's rich? He's got no morals. Heaven will take him down sooner or later. Money won by luck will be lost by incompetence. Young man, we'll see how long you last. The crowd erupted in accusations and insults enough to crush any. Lin Yushan and Wang Qian gloated inwardly. Let's see you act tough now. If you don't want to be shamed forever, just bow your head and hand over the money. But such moral blackmail meant nothing to someone like Chen Hao, who had already died once. Instead, he calmly raised his scratch card and waved it arrogantly in the faces of the middle-aged onlookers. That's right. I've got no morals, but I've won 5 million. Have you? You're so virtuous. Do you have 5 million? Do you? You? The crowd was fuming, their noses practically twisted in anger. But they couldn't argue. They really didn't have 5 million. But it wasn't over. Chen Hao walked up to Lin Yushan with a sly grin. Lin Yushan, I won't give you a single cent of this 5 million unless. Unless what? Lin Yushan asked, nervously desperate for even a sliver of a chance at the money. Chen Hao flashed a wicked smile. I really don't like your friend here. If you slap her a few times, maybe you'll be happy enough to give you a few 100,000. Wow, what? Wang Qian's eyes went wide. She was just playing wingman. How did she end up getting slapped? But Lin Yushan almost couldn't hold back a laugh. Thank goodness. I thought I'd have to bark like a dog to get. After all, no one would give up 5 million for a friend. Still, Lin Yushan cautiously confirmed. Chen Hao, don't tease me. How could I hit anyone? I mean it. Hit her, and he'll give you the money. Everyone here can be my witness. Chen Hao said with conviction. Lin Yushan immediately turned to Wang Qian. Qian, what you said was out of line. It's only right that Chen Hao wants to teach you a lesson. No, Shoo. Qian, don't worry. He'll just give you a few light slaps. When I get the money, I promise to give you 10%. Lin Yushan pulled Wang Qian aside and whispered. But Wang Qian refused outright. Being slapped in public was both physical and emotional damage, and it would cost more. No way. 10% is too little. At least 50%. Lin Yushan grew anxious. 20% max. I really can't go higher. 40%, that's my bottom line. Otherwise, neither of us gets the money. 30%. Take it. Fine. 30% it is. The two women quickly settled on a price. Then with a sharp slap, Lin Yushan struck Wang Qian across the face. The force wasn't heavy, but it wasn't light either. There was a bit of personal spite in it. How dare you haggle with me? But Chen Hao just watched the light slap with a faint, ambiguous smile, saying nothing. Lin Yushan panicked, thinking she hadn't hit hard enough. So she slapped again. This time Wang Qian saw stars and blood trickled from her mouth. Yet Chen Hao still wore that same smile. Lin Yushan grew even more frantic. Still not enough. Then he'll go all out. As long as it makes him happy, he'll get the money. Abandoning all pretense of grace, she wound up her arm and put all her strength into it. But Wang Qian wasn't stupid. The last slap had drawn blood, and this one was clearly stronger. It could give her a concussion. So she dodged in a flash. Lin Yushan, missing her target, nearly threw out her back. Her anger flared. Why are you dodging? Damn it. If I didn't, you'd kill me. Wang Qian cursed angrily. She was clearly enraged by the beating. But Lin Yushan was just as frantic. She still needed to please Chen Hao to get her share. Hey, didn't we agree? I'd give you 30% and you'd let me hit you. Bullshit. You said it would be light. Does this look light to you? You almost knocked my teeth out. Don't think I don't know. You're just trying to get your money's worth. You. What do you want now, eh? What do I want? I don't want the 30%. I just want to hit you back. What are you doing? Oh. Another slap landed, leaving a bright red handprint on Lin Yushan. Lin Yushan, always so conscious of her image, couldn't take it. She shrieked and charged at Wang Qian. He'll kill you. He'll kill you too. In an instant, the two once refined urban goddesses were tangled in a brawl, pulling hair and tearing clothes, reduced to a pair of shrews. The onlookers secretly pulled out their phones, filming and laughing. If Chen Hao winning 5 million was a spectacle, two women fighting was no less entertaining. In fact, by public appeal, a catfight was even more captivating. So no one cared about Chen Hao's supposed lack of morals anymore. Dogs biting dogs, all fur and fury, Chen Hao said with a sly grin. He knew that people's attention spans were short. When slandered or framed, instead of useless explanations, it was better to create a bigger spectacle. That would instantly shift the crowd's focus. Besides, this way he could both divert attention and teach Lin Yushan a harsh lesson. Why not? Have feeling great. Chen Hao stretched lazily and turned to leave with his 5 million look. Lin Yushan, bleeding from the nose from the fight, saw him leaving and shouted frantically while gripping Wang Qian's hair. Wait. Chen Hao, you said you'd give me money. Where are you going? To cash it. Take me with you. Why would I take you? I never planned to give you a cent. Chen Hao said, crossing his arms. Lin Yushan looked stunned, unable to accept it. You? Didn't you say everyone could witness? If I hit her, you'd give me the money. Yeah, but I've got no morals, so I don't keep my word. Everyone here can vouch for that too. Ha ha ha. Chen Hao laughed heartily as he walked away. After all, what did image matter? The world was about to end. Why bother with such things? But Lin Yushan was utterly dumbfounded. Was this still Chen Hao? The same reliable, hardworking guy who always said yes to her? Not at all. So she stood there in shock, even getting a few extra kicks from Wang Qian. Then it hit her. She had been played by Chen Hao. Now she had lost her friend, her image was ruined, and worst of all, she hadn't gotten a single cent of the 5 million. Lin Yushan snapped. Oh, Chen Hao, you dare trick me? Oh, they'll make you pay. Oh, but Chen Hao couldn't care less. He was heading home to wait for someone. The person who would come to buy the scratch card. And if he wasn't mistaken, this person had considerable power and would provide him with a crucial item. An item vital for survival in the coming apocalypse. At 8 p.m., Chen Hao quietly remained in his residence No. 3202, refraining from indulging in any lavish entertainment. It was well known that many people upon winning a lottery would immediately seek to revel in their newfound fortune, eager to squander every penny of their tens of thousands to celebrate their overnight wealth. But Chen Hao would not, because he knew that the apocalypse was imminent and survival was paramount. It should be. Chen Hao glanced at the time on his phone and continued waiting on the living room sofa. His hands moved like a magician's, conjuring a scratch-off ticket one moment and making it vanish the next. He was honing his creation space. After all, an ability was like a firearm. The more you practiced with it, the more naturally your proficiency grew. But if you possessed a gun yet never used it, when the time came to act, you would find yourself powerless. After a little, a low knock suddenly echoed from the front door of Chen Hao's home. A faint smile curled at the corner of his mouth. He knew that the person he had been waiting for had arrived. Yet he still asked, "Who is it?" Then he walked to the door and peered through the peephole to see how many people had come. If they intended to use their numbers to forcibly seize his scratch-off ticket, Chen Hao would ensure they would never find it. After all, the creation space belonged exclusively to him. But there was only one person. "Hello, I am Li Hua, chairman of Dahua Group. I've come to discuss a business deal with you." Li Hua. Chen Hao was somewhat surprised. This Li Hua was no ordinary man. He was a 30-year-old billionaire. He was one of Tiandu City's top 10 young entrepreneurs and a renowned philanthropic pioneer. Most importantly, Li Hua was a self-made man. Rising from a peasant family with no connections, he had forged his way to becoming a billionaire. Now it seemed that no connections might be a questionable claim. So Chen Hao opened the door. "President Li, what brings you here? If you need to rent a yacht, you could have just sent me a message." Indeed, Li Hua was also a client of their yacht rental company, a VIP client. Upon seeing Chen Hao, Li Hua showed no surprise and calmly said, "Chen Hao, let's talk inside. It's not convenient to speak here." "All right." Chen Hao stepped aside and invited Li Hua to sit on the living room sofa. "Chen Hao, let's get straight to the point. I know you won 5 million on a scratch-off ticket, and I want to buy it from you for 8 million. Clearly, Li Hua was not one to beat around the bush, offering a figure that was hard to refuse. Unfortunately, for Chen Hao, who knew the apocalypse was approaching, the number 8 million held some appeal, but not much. So he calmly replied, "President Li, 8 million for my scratch-off ticket is acceptable, but I have one additional condition." Oh, Li Hua was slightly surprised, thinking that 8 million for a ticket that could only yield 4 million was more than sufficient. Unfortunately, anyone else would have agreed without hesitation. But Chen Hao would not. He knew the true value of that scratch-off ticket. He also knew the background of Li Hua. Li Hua is definitely a frontman for some big shot. So now he's looking for money on behalf of that person. Of course, the big shot behind him doesn't lack money. What they lack is clean money. And scratch-off tickets are anonymous purchases. That is, whoever holds it can claim the prize. It's the cleanest and most ideal form of legal income. So Chen Hao spoke. "I need a gun and 20 bullets. With just one gun and one bullet, using his creation space, Chen Hao could produce an endless supply of firearms and ammunition. He could even build an arsenal. This was the greatest security in a devouring apocalypse. But this condition made Li Hua somewhat hesitant. Chen Hao, you should be well aware that our country bans guns. No one is allowed to privately possess firearms. He neither agreed nor refused, waiting for Chen Hao to give a reasonable justification. Chen Hao understood perfectly. President Li, you probably also know my background. I was trafficked by human traffickers. Honestly, I feel very insecure. So, I want a gun just to have an extra sense of security, especially since I'm about to have 8 million. By saying 8 million instead of 5 million, Chen Hao had signaled his willingness to cooperate. Li Hua couldn't help but smile. In that smile there was 3 parts appreciation and 7 parts understanding. Coming from a rural background with nothing, he too had felt deeply insecure. That was why he had willingly become a frontman for a certain big shot. So he could understand Chen Hao's anxiety. And Chen Hao, counting on this, had brought up his own background. Often to move someone, especially someone powerful and wealthy, you rely not only on profit, but also on emotion, on shared experience. So Li Hua reached into his briefcase, pulled out a pistol, and pointed it at Chen Hao. President Li, what is this? Chen Hao said calmly, betting that Li Hua wouldn't dare fire. Even if he did, his creation space could absorb the bullet. Seeing Chen Hao's composed demeanor, a flicker of surprise passed through Li Hua's eyes. Most people would be trembling at the sight of a gun. Aren't you afraid? I believe you won't shoot, President Li. Why? You're a businessman, not an assassin. Such petty matters as killing are beneath your personal involvement. Well said. Li Hua's appreciation for Chen Hao grew. He then handed the gun to Chen Hao. Try it. Thank you, President Li. Chen Hao took the pistol. It was heavy, but the grip felt light, indicating the magazine. Li Hua didn't hide it. This gun has only 5 bullets. It's enough for self-defense, but if you intend to... Li Hua reached into his briefcase again and placed a cylindrical object on the coffee table. It was a silencer. Chen Hao nodded, refrained from haggling, and pulled the scratch-off ticket from his pocket, placing it on the coffee table. This attitude pleased Li Hua, who detested men who never got enough of a bargain. He picked up the ticket and he'll arrange for 8 million to be transferred to your account. This matter stays between you and me. Thank you, President Li. Also, the next time we meet, I hope it's not because you need me to bail you out. Li Hua said with a faint smile, then walked out with his briefcase. Chen Hao smiled knowingly, understanding Li Hua's meaning. It was a warning not to misuse the gun and cause trouble for Li Hua. Of course, Li Hua hadn't said he wouldn't help bail him out. This showed that Li Hua still had some regard for him and might even assign him tasks in the future, taking him under his wing as a capable ally. What a pity. In peacetime, this would have been a golden opportunity to rise swiftly and gain power, but now the apocalypse is upon us. So such an opportunity is far less valuable than this gun. Chen Hao smirked as he looked at the gun in his hand. With this first firearm, he could produce an endless supply. So he eagerly tossed it into his creation space. Chen Hao's handgun was a Type 92 with a 5.8mm caliber and a magazine capacity of 20 rounds. Its advantages were low recoil and steel-core bullets, offering strong armor-piercing effects, making it particularly suitable for beginners. The downside was its short service life. It would be scrapped after firing 3,000 rounds. However, for Chen Hao, who possessed the creation space, was this even a problem? He could replicate them infinitely. Copying a handgun takes about 5 minutes, but replicating a bullet only takes 3 seconds. Gazing at the 5 additional handguns and 200 bullets in the creation space, Chen Hao smiled with satisfaction. Indeed, all fear stems from insufficient firepower. Now that his ammunition was plentiful, Chen Hao felt that even if Sadako herself appeared, he could shoot her until she limped back in retreat. But the handgun's power is still too weak. If only I could replicate some heavy weapons. Tanks, airplanes, even aircraft carriers. As Chen Hao spoke, his eyes began to gleam with excitement. After all, the future world environment had more ocean than land. So if he could own an aircraft carrier, or even a fleet of them, dominating the globe wouldn't be impossible. Just as Chen Hao was pondering where to get an aircraft carrier, a knock sounded at the door. Thump, thump. Who is it? Chen Hao asked lazily. A coquettish voice immediately replied from outside. Chen Hao felt his bones melt at the sound. This Anna was no ordinary woman. No ordinary person could match her figure. Her chest was as plump and round as a large honey pomelo, and her derriere was equally full and curvaceous. Yet her waist was slender, just perfect for an arm to encircle. A pure case of a slender branch bearing hefty fruit. So Anna had always been the dream goddess of every man in the neighborhood. What kind of dream? Well, the kind that brings great pleasure. Come to think of it, isn't Anna a widow? They say her husband passed away just a year after their marriage, probably drained dry. Since then, Anna has been alone, claiming to seek someone with a spark, but never finding one. Huh. So what she's really after isn't a spark, but money. Chen Hao roughly guessed that Anna was drawn by the 5 million. He didn't feel rushed. Having experienced death once, his attitude toward romance had shifted from settling down with one person to a 9-word creed. Don't initiate. Don't reject. Don't take responsibility. Besides, Chen Hao bore the mission of saving humanity. Procreate more, bear more powerful offspring. So Chen Hao leisurely walked to the door. Sister Anna, what brings you here so late? If word gets out, it won't be good for my reputation. Chen Hao, I'm here for something important. Just open the door and let me in. Outside, Anna spoke with a shy expression, even a hint of urgency. Indeed, Anna's rush to see Chen Hao was for the money, because time was money. Whoever secured Chen Hao first could spend more of his 5 million. So Anna had come over impatiently. Sensing her eagerness, Chen Hao smirked mischievously. Was he a gentle? No. Sister Anna, just say what you need to say right there. Chen Hao, it's so cold out here, you want me to talk at the doorstep? Anna said with a seductive tone. But who was Chen Hao? He had died once. After rebirth, his willpower far exceeded that of ordinary people. Chen Hao knew he couldn't appear too eager, otherwise Anna would think she could easily manipulate him, just by sweet-talking to get money. So Chen Hao pretended to close the door tightly. Sister Anna, if you want speak, then I'll shut the door. No, don't close it. Sure enough, as Chen Hao moved to close the door, Anna panicked. It's like this. I've set my eyes on a handbag worth over 10,000. I want you to buy it for me first. Anna wasn't a foolish woman, as she knew most men were sensitive about money. Saying she came for cash would instantly lower her standing. It would make her seem like she was selling herself. But asking for a handbag fit a woman's coquettish nature and satisfied a man's chivalrous pride. As for repayment, no money. Then she'd have to repay in other ways. After a few rounds, they'd be entangled. You mean you want a handbag? Chen Hao confirmed, thinking to himself, how could he be so lucky? After all, his creation space could replicate things infinitely. Buy the bag, replicate it, then return it, spending nothing. So if Anna wanted a bag instead of cash, rounding it up, wasn't she offering a free ride? But Chen Hao was just confirming. Anna, however, thought he was questioning repayment, so she gently twisted her body into a fine curve. Chen Hao, I really want it. And I want to treat you badly. All right. Sweetie, I'm off. Don't forget my bag. They'll give it to you tomorrow. I'll come by tomorrow then. Anna said, happily swaying her slender waist as she limped away. Chen Hao didn't mind, and simply closed the door, ready to go back to sleep. But just as he was about to lie down, another knock came. Thump. 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 Who is it? Chen Hao asked, wondering if Anna had forgotten something. But peeking through standing outside were 3 burly men. What's going on here? Chen Hao eyed the 3 burly men outside his door with suspicion, rubbing his chin as he wondered who had sent them. But it didn't matter who sent them. With a gun in hand, dealing with a few small fry was a piece of cake. So Chen Hao calmly opened the door. Who are you looking for? Unexpectedly, the 3 burly men were startled when Chen Hao opened the door. The bald leader craned his neck and shouted into the room. Don't think you can hide from this. We know you live here. Chen Hao chuckled inwardly. They had the wrong place. So Chen Hao said, take a closer look. This is 3201, and I live alone. Did you make a mistake? Chen Hao shook his head in disbelief, stretched, and was about to go back to bed for some more sleep. Then he heard the 3 men shouting outside 3202 across the hall. Chen Hao shook his head in disbelief, stretched, and was about to go back to bed for some more sleep. Then he heard the 3 men shouting outside 3202 across the hall. Zhou Xiao, we know you're home. Come out now. Otherwise we'll splash paint on your door. And today it's your door, tomorrow it'll be your workplace. Don't think we don't know you're interning at the city hospital. Well, ruin your reputation. You won't be able to be a doctor or a student. When Chen Hao heard the name, Zhou Xiao, he was stunned. Damn, Xiao. Zhou Xiao was no ordinary acquaintance. Her brother Zhou Ting was Chen Hao's best friend even before the apocalypse. It was because Chen Hao lived in 3202 that Zhou Ting had moved his sister into 3201. Unfortunately, Zhou Ting had died in a car accident half a year ago. Though he would later be resurrected, for now, he was truly dead. To save her brother, Zhou Xiao had borrowed heavily from online loans and loan sharks. Chen Hao had already helped her repay over 2,000 yuan, which had delayed buying a car for Lin Yushan, earning him a scolding. But loan sharks were a bottomless pit, unless you used force to settle it. So Zhou Xiao, a mere student, had no choice but to hide and delay as long as she could. But how long could she hide? In her previous life, after being splashed with paint at the hospital, she lost her chance to be a doctor or a student. She chose to end her life because they forced her into prostitution, and she would rather die than comply. And that was just 3 days before the apocalypse. If Xiao had held on just 3 more days, she wouldn't have to worry about the loan sharks anymore. In the apocalypse, what's a loan shark worth? Chen Hao sighed deeply. Failing to protect his best friend's sister was one of his greatest regrets from his past life. This time he would not let that tragedy repeat. At 3202, when Zhou Xiao heard they would go to the hospital, she had no choice but to open the door. Pain at home she could avoid, but at the hospital there was no escape. But the bald man just sneered. Interest. We want the principal now. Our manager says your debt is overdue. Principal and interest. But the bald man just sneered. Interest. We want the principal now. Our manager says your debt is overdue. Principal and interest must be paid together. What? Manager Lu said I could pay over 2 years. That was then. Now it's 516,000 yuan total, and you have to pay today. The bald man pressed relentlessly. Zhou Xiaoxiao's face turned deathly pale, tears welling in her eyes. Over 5,000. How? I only borrowed 2,000, and I only got 18,000. That's not my problem. If you don't pay today, we'll splash paint on your door today and at your hospital tomorrow, until you pay. You? Where am I supposed to find that much money? Zhou Xiaoxiao said helplessly. She didn't regret borrowing to save her brother, only that she couldn't deal with these thugs. Hearing this, the bald man leered at her, letting out a sinister chuckle. Zhou Xiaoxiao was a stunning beauty, with curves that put fake ones to shame. Many men would pay a fortune for just one night with her. Beautiful Xiaoxiao, manager Lu said, if you spend one night with him, he'll give you a week's grace, 2 nights, 2 weeks. 3 nights, and you get an extra week. A full month. Ha ha. Dream on. Zhou Xiaoxiao snapped. She was gentle in build, but fiercely proud. She would rather die than sell herself. Enraged by her refusal, the bald man said, ungrateful bitch. If you want a company, manager Lu, then pay up. If you can't, we'll force you into prostitution. A doctor by day, a whore by night. Every man would pay. He reached for her arm, eager to drag her away. Zhou Xiaoxiao fought back. But how could a girl resist 3 strong men? Just as she was about to be subdued, Chen Hao stepped in and took them all down in under 5 seconds. The bald man howled in pain. Huh? Mind your own business. What did you say? Chen Hao cracked his knuckles with a sinister smile, silencing the man instantly. Chen Hao had never felt secure, so he had maxed out his combat skills to feel safe. Seeing Chen Hao, Zhou Xiaoxiao brightened, but then blushed, not wanting him to see her in such a humiliating state. Don't be afraid, Xiaoxiao. I'm here. Chen Hao comforted her. The bald man persisted. If you're so capable, pay her debt. Otherwise, we'll be back tomorrow and it'll only get worse. How much does she owe? 52,000. What do you think? Is that all? WeChat or Alipay? Huh. Ding. Alipay transfer received 52,000 yuan. Upon hearing this news, the bald man was dumbfounded. A sum as large as 52,000 yuan. Could it really be transferred so casually? But how could Chen Hao ever do a losing business? He still needed to keep the money to stockpile supplies. So now if he lost a single cent, he would have to get 10 cents back. Thus Chen Hao let out a disdainful laugh. Such a paltry sum warrants a knock on my door this early in the morning. Next time, mind your manners. If you have business, wait until the afternoon. Begging for money at dawn brings bad luck, understand? The bald man and his crew glared at Chen Hao with displeasure, but since they couldn't beat him, what else could they do? They could only take the money and return to report. Hold it. Just as the bald man and his crew were about to leave, Chen Hao called out to stop them. The bald man and his crew turned pale with fright. They feared another beating. What do you want? Let me tell you, this is a society governed by law. Fighting carries legal consequences. Oh, you're quite aware of the law, aren't you? Hearing such words from a thug like you is truly exasperating. Chen Hao couldn't help but mock them directly. Then lifting his chin, he said, you're loan sharks, right? As it happens, I need a sum of bridge financing recently. Can you handle that? Heh, of course we can. Hearing there was business to be had, the bald man and his crew immediately became as enthusiastic as dogs, since closing a deal meant they would get a commission. Moreover, Chen Hao had just flashed 52,000 yuan. Someone like him needing bridge financing would surely involve a substantial amount. Consequently, the commission wouldn't be small either. Chen Hao chuckled slyly. What a greedy lot. Leave me a contact number. Also, what kind of collateral do you require? A house? A car? A wristwatch? When they heard the first 2 items, the bald man and his crew looked somewhat relieved. But upon hearing the last item, wristwatch, their faces darkened. The bald man said with a grimace, bro, don't mess with me. How much could a wristwatch be worth? Chen Hao didn't speak. He just calmly held up one finger. The bald man said hesitantly, 1 Chen Hao disdainfully wagged his finger. The bald man grew a bit nervous. 1 million. Chen Hao showed even more disgust. The bald man was stunned. Don't tell me. It's 10 million. Is there really such an expensive watch? No way, right? If you're ignorant, go educate yourself. Don't just know cheap stuff like Rolex. Ever heard of Vacheron Constantin? If not, look it up on Baidu. Scorned by Chen Hao, the bald man rubbed his head, awkwardly thinking to himself, a 10 million yuan watch. I wouldn't even dare dream of buying one. So he could only say, I need to go back and discuss this with my manager. Let me add your WeChat. In his speech, he even started using the honorific you, showing he was completely intimidated by Chen Hao. Chen Hao lazily scanned the QR code. Go have a good talk with your manager. And don't come harassing my sister again, or else I'll make you regret it. Absolutely. Absolutely. The bald man and his crew nodded frantically in fear, then left with their hearts pounding. From Chen Hao's every word and action, they felt 3 words. Don't mess with him. So since they couldn't afford to provoke him, they had to avoid him. As for Zhou Xiaoxiao, she was completely stunned by Chen Hao's grand gesture. How's he go where? Where did you get so much money? After all, she was the sister of his close friend, so they knew each other inside out. Chen Hao's meager salary each month went to Lin Yushin's family for their mortgage, and occasionally, he had to pay their property fees, utility bills, and TV membership renewals. He was as broke as a beggar, no worse off than one. So where did all this money come from? But Chen Hao just patted Zhou Xiaoxiao on the head and said, "Silly girl, don't you know yet that I won 5 million? How's he good you won 5 million? Zhou Xiaoxiao was first overjoyed, then a wave of melancholy washed over her. But since you gave the money to me, Lin Yushin's family will definitely be upset. They'll scold you again. Don't worry. Your Hao Ge has woken up. From now on they are them, and I am me. Completely separate." Really? Zhou Xiaoxiao's eyes suddenly sparkled with excitement, for she had secretly harbored a crush on Chen Hao for a long time. Unfortunately, his world had always revolved around that family. Now that Chen Hao was alone, could she become his new family? "And you silly girl, why didn't you tell me about your troubles? I treat you like my own sister. Don't do this again next time," Chen Hao said in the tone of an older brother scolding his younger sister. This infuriated Zhou Xiaoxiao, who cursed stupid Chen Hao. Nothing. I mean, what about that 10 million yuan watch?" Zhou Xiaoxiao looked at Chen Hao. Even if he had won 5 million, he couldn't be insane enough to buy a 10 million yuan watch, right? Besides, the money wasn't enough. They wouldn't sell it to him. But Chen Hao just smiled. "Silly. I was lying to them. If I hadn't, wouldn't they keep harassing you? We need to make them think we're wealthy and powerful. So that's it. Hao Ge, you're so smart," Zhou Xiaoxiao said with an adoring look. Chen Hao accepted the compliment with a pleased grin. In truth, he didn't have a 10 million yuan watch now, but later that might not be the case. Speaking of which, it was that seductive woman Anna who had given Chen Hao the idea. Just thinking of Anna stirred a wicked fire within him. After all, Chen Hao's creation space could replicate things, so replicating a 1 yuan bag was the same as replicating a 10 million yuan watch. Why not replicate both? And right now what I need most is cash for direct purchases. So pawning a 10 million yuan watch to borrow 10 million in cash. Isn't that reasonable? Chen Hao smirked mischievously. In the apocalypse, what use would a 10 million yuan watch be? It wouldn't be worth a 1 yuan steamed bun. But now 10 million yuan could buy a mountain of supplies that after the apocalypse would be worth more than 1,000 times that amount. So Chen Hao changed his clothes and headed straight for the most luxurious shopping mall in Tian'an City, making a beeline for the Vacheron Constantin boutique. But just as Chen Hao approached the entrance of the Vacheron Constantin store, before he could step inside, a beautiful female manager came out and casually blocked his path. The beautiful manager said with a smile, "I'm sorry, sir, but this is a high-end brand store. Formal attire is required for entry." In one sentence, she elevated the store's prestige to the max. But the subtext was, "Broke guy, stay out, thanks." Chen Hao said nothing, just picked up his phone, pressed a few buttons, and put it away. 3 seconds later, a notification sound rang from Chen Hao's phone. Alipay transfer received 1 million yuan. In an instant, the beautiful manager's face cycled through 3 expressions: shock, disbelief, and ecstatic joy. Then, like a servile dog, she bent over to fawn on him. "Esteemed guest, my sincerest apologies. That was my mistake. A distinguished guest like you is welcome to shop without formal attire. After all, rules were meant to keep out the poor, not to hinder the wealthy." Chen Hao patted the beautiful manager's head with satisfaction. "Lead the way." If it were an ordinary person touching her head, the beautiful manager would have exploded on the spot. But how could someone who earns 1 million be an ordinary person? Thus, the beautiful manager happily said, "After you," and cheerfully led the way, first taking Chen Hao to the area with watches priced over 100. "Sir, take a look. Do you have a style you like? If you do, I can bring them all for you to try." But Chen Hao just glanced at the price and fell silent. The implication being, too cheap, not interested. Because wealthy people are like this, they don't seek the best, only the most expensive. The beautiful manager instantly understood and promptly took Chen Hao to the area with watches priced at 1 million. "Sir, take a look at these styles over here." Chen Hao merely glanced over briefly, showing little interest, and let out a long yawn. The beautiful manager realized that only the most expensive watches could pique Chen Hao's interest, so she proactively took out a watch. "Sir, take a look at this watch. It's our new model, currently priced at 18 million. Is there a more expensive one?" Chen Hao fiddled with his ears, speaking absent-mindedly. The beautiful manager quickly took out a more expensive one. "Then take a look at this. It's more than double the price of the previous one, priced at 22 million. As she spoke, the beautiful manager's voice trembled slightly, because those who sell luxury watches often follow the rule: 3 years without sales, then eat for 3 years. A watch worth 5 million. The commission could be 200 to 300. This time, Chen Hao finally reached out, lazily extending his hand, allowing the beautiful manager to carefully put it on for him. "It looks quite nice." Chen Hao casually flipped the watch a few times as he spoke. Having mingled in wealthy circles for years, Chen Hao had a certain appreciation for luxury goods. Thus Chen Hao knew that this watch was already quite good, but not top tier. Is there anything more expensive? Just a moment. The beautiful manager, struggling to contain her excitement, made an effort to maintain a calm tone while speaking to Chen Hao. If he couldn't even look at a 5 million watch, then they would have to move up to the 10 million watches. As for the commission on this sale, it would be even more. It might even reach 5,000,000. Why might? Because they had never had such a large sale since. So take a look at this watch, it's 10.88 million. Let me try it on. After the beautiful manager put the watch on her wrist, Chen Hao then leisurely flipped his wrist. It was heavy. It had substance. At first glance one could tell it was a top quality piece. Chen Hao nodded in satisfaction. This watch must be the most expensive one in their store. If it were any more expensive, I doubt there would be one. After all, the brand isn't foolish. Having one flagship treasure priced around 10 million in a city is sufficient. As for anything pricier, that's basically custom made. Thus Chen Hao decided to replicate this watch. With a sly smile, he beckoned the beautiful manager closer. The beautiful manager immediately leaned in. This could earn her 5,000 in commission, so she was willing to do whatever Chen Hao asked. But Chen Hao only said, "Let me show you a trick." "How about that?" "What trick?" the beautiful manager said sweetly. "Of course, it's hidden on me," Chen Hao said, leisurely dragging out the time. His creation space could replicate anything, only considering the quality of the item, not since she had taken the watch out. If it was lost, she would be responsible. But the key point was that even selling herself wouldn't cover the loss. So the beautiful manager became frantic. "No, sir. Where's the watch? Where did you hide it?" "Of course, it's hidden on me," Chen Hao said, leisurely dragging out the time. His creation space could replicate anything, only considering the quality of the item, not the craftsmanship. So replicating a watch would only take about a minute. Even if it was a 10 million watch, it would still take a minute. But the beautiful manager was truly anxious. Having not seen the watch for a second, she couldn't calm down. "Sir, please take it out, or I will have a hard time managing this." "Oh, you're in such a hurry, why don't you search me yourself?" Chen Hao said, spreading his hands. With no other choice, the beautiful manager gritted her teeth and slowly began to search Chen Hao's clothes, carefully exploring from top to bottom. But she didn't find the watch. Only feeling solid pectoral muscles, hard abdominal muscles, and a certain impressive appendage. Since being reborn, Chen Hao found his energy to be exceptionally vigorous. It was probably due to a significant improvement in physical condition. The beautiful manager quickly withdrew her hand in panic. "This? So big. If you can't find such a big watch, I'm impressed," Chen Hao said calmly, pulling the watch from his. Upon seeing the watch, the beautiful manager finally breathed a sigh of relief, but immediately realized a problem. Had she just offended Chen Hao? So the beautiful manager hurriedly tried to apologize. The way you were hesitating earlier was quite..." Chen Hao chuckled. It's known that in luxury goods stores, salespeople are judged not by their education, but by their looks. Thus, this beautiful manager was rated at 85 points for looks, and her figure was also somewhat curvy. After all, not every wealthy person prefers a fuller figure. Many prefer a slender type. The beautiful manager instantly understood. There are plenty of people who would sell themselves for performance. She wouldn't be the first nor the last. Thus, the beautiful manager also gave her hint. "Mr. Chen, given the opportunity, I will let you see me hesitating again." "Oh, is your hesitating serious?" "If Mr. Chen is serious, then I will be serious. If Mr. Chen is not serious, then I won't be serious. I'll sweep you away." "All right." So Chen Hao added a new contact to his phone. Then he stretched. "I'm leaving. I'll come back another day. Take care." The beautiful manager felt a bit disappointed, but it was understandable. A watch worth over 10 million could be bought by anyone, so why should it be her? So without offering something she wouldn't get, that 5,000 commission, the beautiful manager was already mentally prepared. "Mr. Chen, I finish work at 6 p.m. May I invite you to dinner?" Just as Chen Hao stepped out, he received a message from the beautiful manager. But Chen Hao merely smiled and didn't pay much attention. Anyway, when Chen Hao needed something even at 2:30 a.m., this woman would come running on her own, so he could choose whether to respond or not. Thus, Chen Hao was more focused on another message. It was from the bald moneylender. "Mr. Chen, our manager said that luxury watches can also be used as collateral. Here is our company address. The company name is Datong Business." And below was a location indication. Chen Hao immediately chuckled. Here comes the money. "At Datong Commercial Company. I'm here. President Chen, please wait a moment." A minute later, the bald man approached with a beaming, sycophantic smile. "President Chen, Manager Liu instructed us to bring you directly to his office upon your arrival. He will receive you personally. Chen Hao let out an emotionless grunt, paying little heed to the bald man. Engaging too much with underlings only diminished one's status. After passing through several ordinary offices, the bald man ushered Chen Hao to the entrance of a lavish office, and then rapped on the glass door. "Manager President Chen is here." President Chen. Upon hearing Chen Hao's arrival, Lu Chang, with his slicked back hair, immediately rushed out with an effusive welcome. President Chen, I heard you were coming, so I've been waiting here all along, without stepping away for a moment. Let's sit down and talk. Chen Hao gestured with his chin toward the tea table in the office. Lu Chang nodded promptly. Let's sit. Let's sit. Then he closed the office door, securely brewed a pot of fine tea, and slowly eased into the main topic. President Chen, I hear you need a bridge loan. What kind of figure are we looking at? A bridge loan was essentially short-term borrowing. Hence the interest was called a bridge fee. Chen Hao calmly held up one finger. This much. 10 million. A glint of shrewdness flashed in Lu Chang's eyes. A 10 million loan was undoubtedly a big deal, but the bigger the deal, the greater the risk. The greater the risk. If Chen Hao disappeared, the 10 million would be gone for good. So Lu Chang said with, President Chen, you know ours is a small operation. It's not easy. For such a large sum, we certainly can't just approve the disbursement casually. Take this. Chen Hao decisively placed the 10 million yuan watch on the tea table. Though it was a replica, the creation space's replication technology was flawless. Using the replicated watch to secure a 10 million loan was practically getting something for nothing. So the moment Lu Chang saw the watch, his eyes lit up. This is a real treasure. There probably isn't a second one like it in all of Tian'an City. But Chen Hao merely sneered. Never mind a second one, even if you wanted 1,000. 10,000. As long as I had the time, I could churn them all out. Yet Lu Chang, though enamored with the watch, examining it again and again, touching it repeatedly, still clung to a shred of reason. President Chen, fine as this watch is converted into actual cash, it's worth at most 70%. That's 7 million. 7 million to guarantee 10 million. Manager Lu, are you truly naive or just pretending to be? Chen Hao spoke without even lifting his eyelids, startling Lu Chang. President Chen, what do you mean? I don't quite follow. Take a look at this watch. How new is it? A watch this pristine. How many times a year do you think its owner wears it? This? It looks brand new, doesn't it? Barely worn. Could it be? Exactly what you're thinking. President Chen, what do you mean? I don't quite follow. Take a look at this watch. How new is it? A watch this pristine. How many times a year do you think it's? Certainly not the wealthy. They have no fear of flaunting their riches. So it must be someone from the establishment wielding power and influence, yet terrified of being exposed by the organization. Thus Lu Chang instantly concluded that Chen Hao was acting on behalf of some high-ranking figure. In other words, he was a so-called white glove. As for why the big shot needed money, the reasons were countless. Perhaps he had embezzled organizational funds and was now in a deficit, fearing an audit, so he needed a loan to plug the hole. But Lu Chang dared not ask, nor could he, if he wanted to stay alive. So his attitude instantly shifted from respect to fawning. After all, no loan shark, no matter how ruthless, would dare oppose the government. Understood. Understood. It's an honor to serve you, President Chen. Glad you get it. Chen Hao lounged on the sofa, speaking with an air of nonchalance. Having spent years navigating high-level circles, putting on airs was second nature to him. But Lu Chang, after a moment's thought, still wanted to haggle a bit for a favor fee. However, President Chen, our small company isn't exactly flush. This 10 million. Enough. Stop dithering. 10 million borrowed for half a year with a 500,000 favor fee at maturity. Is that sufficient? Sufficient. More than sufficient. Lu Chang was instantly awed by Chen Hao's bold generosity, thinking to himself that those with power and influence truly had money. Offering 500,000 without even batting an eye. He himself would be hard-pressed to earn 500,000 in half a year. But little did he know Chen Hao had no intention of repaying the loan. The apocalypse was imminent. Why bother repaying anything? As for the 500,000 favor fee, it was merely a smokescreen to keep Lu Chang from causing trouble before the end came. So very soon Chen Hao's account was credited with 10 million in real money. What's commonly called liquid capital available for immediate use. Unlike asset-based wealth, which required selling a house to free up cash. Heh, with 800,000 plus 10 million, I can now acquire any supplies I need. Chen Hao smiled with confidence. Though 18 million in cash wasn't a colossal sum. But remember, in this world, you don't always have to buy to experience something. Take a beautiful woman, for instance. To marry her, you need a 600,000 bride price, plus a house and a car. Yet for just 600, you can have her for a night. That was the beauty of short-term leasing. What's more, I have the creation space. As long as I get my hands on something, I can replicate it endlessly. At that thought, Chen Hao could already envision his future. In the apocalypse, amid an environment where nothing could be produced, he would be able to continuously churn out brand new items. He would be the new age creator. Alright, now it's time to have some fun at the workplace. Chen Hao stretched his arms with a long yawn. After the sea levels rose, no matter how formidable the fortress or secure the safe room, they would all become dead cans under the water, doomed to eventual ruin. Only a yacht was the most practical safe haven and the most effective mode of transport. And Chen Hao knew that in his yacht rental company there was a vessel named Noah's Ark, a veritable divine artifact for the apocalyptic water world. Speaking of this yacht named Noah's Ark, its origin is quite interesting. There was once a man who said, "I'm not interested in money," and then promptly spent $2 billion on a yacht. Indeed, with the rapid development of the times, the truly top-tier tycoons have long abandoned luxury cars and mansions. Their new obsession is private yachts. Thus, the owner of this Noah's Ark is also a top-tier tycoon and one with a passion for technology, Elon Musk. After sending cars into space and rockets to Mars, Musk has now crafted this luxury yacht capable of surviving even in an apocalypse. With a hull length of 109 meters, it stands as a pinnacle among private yachts. All operations feature both automated and manual modes, allowing a single person to pilot the entire vessel. But the most crucial aspect is its safety. Reinforced with top-tier materials, it can withstand even in... As for why such a divine yacht ended up in China, and specifically at Chen Hao's company, don't ask. If you must ask, it's because Musk was happy, so he placed it wherever he pleased. After all, Musk has always been known as a mad genius, never following the rules, and always aiming to surprise. This capricious style brings him personal joy, and for his business empire, massive attention. It became free advertising, driving his company's stock price up wave after wave. So he placed his luxury yacht in a mid-sized Chinese city and entrusted it to a small yacht rental company. This shocked the world. Naturally, the stock soared, fattening Musk's wallet. Who would have thought that the biggest beneficiary of this whole affair would be me? Chen Hao let out a chuckle. When the flood comes, what use are stock prices or business empires? Nothing compares to a mobile sea fortress. And don't forget, Chen Hao possesses the creation space. He can replicate this Noah's Ark yacht infinitely. Even without an aircraft carrier, he can forge a naval fleet. He could become the overlord of the seas. But that would be too troublesome. Compared to conquering the world, he'd rather enjoy a carefree life with a group of beauties. Thus, Chen Hao immediately rushed to his workplace, a yacht rental company called Hao Yacht Club. At the Hao Yacht Club department, head Zhang Meili was throwing a tantrum at Chen Hao's desk. Where's Chen? Where is he? Disappearing without a word. Does he think this company is his own? Coming and going as he... As a company catering to the wealthy, the Hao Yacht Club had specific requirements for its employees. They had to... Zhang Meili was no exception. She was an attractive woman, scoring an 85, with a fiery figure and a certain allure. But as Chen Hao's supervisor, their biggest conflict wasn't about hierarchy, it was about their personal relationship. That's right. Zhang Meili had once pursued Chen Hao relentlessly, only to be ruthlessly rejected. Chen Hao's excuse was that he didn't like older women. But come on. Older women have their own appeal, don't they? The real reason was that Chen Hao knew all too well how chaotic the yacht rental industry could be. Sleeping with rich heirs for sales was practically routine. Zhang Meili's experiences alone could fill an 8 million-word novel. After the rejection, Zhang Meili held a grudge against Chen Hao. She would lash out at him whenever she got the chance. If not for his stellar sales record, he would have been fired long ago. He's getting more and more undisciplined. If he skips work today, will he steal clients tomorrow? Zhang Meili ranted, not missing a chance to slander him. Instead of defending Chen Hao, the others in the department joined in the attack. Supervisor Chen Hao has gone too far. I suggest we deal with this matter seriously today. Yes, he must be dealt with. I agree. I second that. But this wasn't because Chen Hao had a bad character. It was because he was too capable. Inevitably, excellence breeds envy. The more capable he was, the more people envied him. Especially Zhao Dong, Zhang Meili's top simp. He was not only infatuated with her, but had even driven her to a rich second-generation suburban villa. There was a certain cuckoldry tendency to it. So when Zhang Meili scolded Chen Hao, Zhao Dong had to chime in. Exactly. Chen Hao has no discipline at all. He's dragging down the whole department. I suggest we kick Chen Hao out. As soon as he said this, the noisy department fell silent. Fooling around was one thing, but you don't mess with the sales figures. Chen Hao brought in over half their department's revenue. Without him, they couldn't meet their monthly targets. Kicking him out meant losing their monthly bonuses. Seeing the situation getting out of hand, Zhang Meili quickly tried to save face. All right, we'll give him one more chance. If he doesn't appreciate it, he can pack his things and leave. But just as she finished speaking, Chen Hao's voice came from the entrance. Appreciate my ass, I'm quitting right now. Chen Hao, what did you just say? You're quitting. Now it was Zhang Meili's turn to panic. She knew about Chen Hao's family situation, that he was tied down by the Lin family and wouldn't easily resign. That's why she dared to attack him. But if he left, she would be the first to suffer. If the department failed to meet its targets, she would be the one getting fired. So she immediately became hysterical. Have you lost your mind? The company has rules and regulations. You can't just leave whenever you want. Rules and regulations, you say? I need to submit a resignation request, right? Simple. Chen Hao sat down at his desk, typed furiously on the keyboard, and printed out a resignation. He slapped it into Zhang Meili's hand. Here. Zhang Meili's face twisted with rage. When she saw the reason for resignation, because I don't like my department head, Zhang Meili, her face turned green. Chen Hao. Just as she was about to gnash her teeth and roar, she noticed another sheet beneath the resignation application. It was a rental order. Someone wanted to rent the Noah's Ark for 10 days at 50,000 yuan per day, totaling 500,000 yuan. Oh my god. Zhang Meili's heart pounded. The market price for an ordinary yacht was about 5,000 yuan a day, or even 3,000 for a smaller one. But for this Noah's Ark, Musk had set a minimum of 50,000 a day. Usually few people rented it in a month. But now someone had booked it for 10 days. This was equivalent to their entire department's monthly sales target. Zhang Meili felt a surge of secret delight. Haha, Chen Hao, you're usually so smart, but you slipped up at the critical moment. Did you think you'd still get the commission on this order after you quit? Huh, it's all mine now. Just as she was thinking about which bag to buy with the 50,000 yuan commission, she noticed that the salesperson on the order was Chen Hao, and the client was also Chen Hao. Huh, are my eyes playing tricks on me? Or is it just a coincidence of names? Looking more closely, not only were the names identical, but the ID number and contact information were also the same. Chen Hao had placed the order for himself. Zhang Meili's eyes widened in shock. But it wasn't over yet. Since yachts were luxury items, asset proof was required as a guarantee. Otherwise, even a minor scratch would take an ordinary person 200 years of work to repay. On the next page of the order was an asset certificate. Tomato Bank certificate account holder Chen Hao has cash assets of 18 million yuan in our bank. Zhang Meili couldn't believe her eyes. She rubbed them and looked again. The amount was still 18 million. And the account holder was still Chen Hao. Seeing Zhang Meili's stunned expression, Chen Hao chuckled. What? You weren't thinking of ripping off my order, were you? Do you have the guts? Haha, President Chen, what kind of joke is this? How would I dare to swindle your order? Upon seeing Chen Hao's asset statement, Zhang Meili's address toward him immediately shifted to the Reverend President Chen. Why? Simply because Chen Hao was wealthy. 18 million. In cash. That made him a premium client at any company. Thus, if Chen Hao said a single word to the boss, Zhang Meili would be fired on the spot. After all, clients with 18 million in assets were hard to come by, while employees prettier than Zhang Meili could be found in droves. You do know how to read the room. Arrange it for me, and make it quick. Yes, President Chen. Zhang Meili replied with an utterly seductive tone, flaunting her charm to the fullest. Yet Chen Hao showed no reaction whatsoever and even felt a hint of disgust. He had absolutely no desire to drive a car that had been worn out by countless wealthy playboys. President Chen, the Noah, is undergoing maintenance and won't be ready until Sunday. I can schedule it for next Monday. Is that acceptable? Zhang Meili approached with the order form, and as she spoke, she thrust her chest forward with a pop. 2 buttons on her blouse suddenly came undone, revealing a deeply alluring cleavage. This was her signature move, one that had helped her ensnare countless rich heirs. After all, men preferred these accidental little perks over outright seduction. Yet Chen Hao didn't even glance her way. He merely confirmed the order with calm composure. Next Monday, right? Find him busy this week anyway. He then scrawled his signature on the order with 2 swift strokes, turned around, and strode out of the office with effortless grace, leaving Zhang Meili alone, utterly bewildered. Her foolproof cleavage trick had been completely useless against Chen Hao. Her face twisted in frustration. Chen Hao, how dare you? Just you wait. I will win you over. Such was the superpower of wealth. No matter how cold-hearted you were, gold diggers would always forgive you for the sake of money. As for Chen Hao, after leaving the company, he felt refreshed and liberated. Phew, finally I can hold my head high. One more second in that suffocating place and I'd have exploded. Besides, I can use this week to prepare. After all, replicating a 109-meter luxury yacht would require a tremendous amount of physical and mental energy, so preparation was essential. He needed to raise his own limits. Just like in my past life, I'll start by replicating small items. The more I replicate, the faster it'll become. A sinister smirk curled at the corner of Chen Hao's mouth. Because having an ability was like handling a gun. The more you practiced, the more refined your skill became. But if you left the gun untouched, it would soon rust. Thus, for the coming week, Chen Hao had only one thing to do: replicate everything. Firstly, to stockpile resources. Secondly, to enhance his ability. So Chen Hao's first move was to make a phone call. Hello, manager, this is Chen Hao. I want to rent a BMW 5 Series. You know I'm an expert, so don't try to fob me off with a modified piece of junk. I'm currently at. In truth, most rental companies were masters of deception. You might think you were renting an 8 million Rolls when it was actually a 2000 Hongqi sedan with a makeover. You might think you were renting a brand new luxury Mercedes, but it was an old clunker that had changed hands 800 times with a fresh shell. Were there genuine luxury cars for rent? Yes, but very few, and you needed solid connections to get them. Coincidentally, Chen Hao was a veteran in the rental industry and a top salesperson, so no one dared to cheat him. They still relied on him for referrals. 10 minutes later, a brand new BMW 530 pulled up in front of Chen Hao. Manager Yu round as a ball climbed out of the car. Bro, how hey race the car you asked for? Brand new for really? Where did you get a new one? Chen Hao was a bit curious as a car being rented out for the first time was indeed rare. Manager Yu chuckled slyly. A driver's boss just bought this car and told him to break it in. The guy dropped it off. Interesting. He's pocketing his boss' salary and gas money while taking your kickback. That kid's got a good head for business. Isn't he afraid of damaging his boss' car? A car's like a wife. If it's not your own, why would you care? Manager Yu said slickly, then looked at Chen Hao with eager anticipation. Chen Hao caught on instantly. Market rate for a BMW 530 is 600 yuan per day. Since it's brand new, it'll give you 1000 a day. That's generous enough, right? More than generous. Well, if I'm generous, you'd better be too. Huh? Give me a brand new Land Rover tomorrow. If it satisfies me, the money will satisfy you. Got it. Got it. The rotund Manager Yu's eyes narrowed into slits with delight. With the BMW rental, Chen Hao paid 1,000 yuan of 600 went to the company, and the remaining 400 naturally slid into his own pocket. The market rate for a Land Rover was 1,500 yuan per day, but Chen Hao would offer even more. With such profit at stake, how could he not give his all? So Manager Yu immediately mobilized all his connections. Calling all friends, I need a brand new Land Rover. Paid. DM me. As for Chen Hao, he took the car keys, sat in the BMW, and with a single light tap on the accelerator knew that fat Yu hadn't lied. Though Chen Hao couldn't afford a BMW himself, he had spent years in the circles of wealthy heirs and knew cars inside out. Because idle rich kids love to race, and they often invited Chen Hao along. With his superb driving skills, he had even been crowned the 9-turn street racing king. Otherwise, how do you think Chen Hao landed so many deals? With charm? No, with skill. Heh, such a fine car. It'd be a shame not to take a picture. So Chen Hao pulled out his phone, snapped a selfie, and unashamedly included the BMW logo on the steering wheel. Then he posted it on his moments. Don't know why, but lately I've been really into little animals. Like BMWs, Land Rovers, Jaguars, Hummers. But Chen Hao hadn't blocked anyone from seeing this post. So when Lin Yushan saw it, she was absolutely furious, because she felt that the 5 million Chen Hao had won should have been hers. Yet now he was spending it all without giving her a damn it. Damn Chen Hao. Spending the money himself. I'm so furious. Lin Yushan's face twisted in rage, but then a flash of inspiration struck her with a brilliant scheme. Wait a minute. If I can't get that 5 million as his sister, why not get it as his wife? Ha ha ha. I'm a genius. Woo, woo, woo. Chen Hao pressed the accelerator and the BMW 530 surged forward, providing an exhilarating pushback sensation, while the driving experience was extraordinarily comfortable. Because the comfort of driving a BMW is second to none among all cars. That's why it said drive a BMW and ride in a Mercedes. He drove straight to the suburbs, and after confirming there were no people or cameras around, Chen Hao climbed out of the car preparing to replicate this BMW 530. But then his phone rang. Chen Hao picked it up and saw the contact name sister. Oh, it's Lin Yushan. He forgot to change the contact name earlier. Most likely she saw his moments on social media and was coming over to stir things up. Just when Chen Hao was getting a bit bored from driving for a long time, he thought he might as well find some fun. Hello. Hello, is that my brother? Lin Yushan feigned shyness, her words dripping with flirtation. Chen Hao remained calm. What's up? Hurry up and say it, or I'll hang up. Well, actually, I like you. Oh, and then... Chen Hao felt no waves of emotion, even wanting to laugh a bit. Yet Lin Yushan surprisingly got quite into her role. Brother, you might not fully understand what I mean. What I mean is my feelings for you are not the kind of sibling love, but rather the kind of romantic love between a man and a woman. Chen Hao was somewhat speechless, thinking to himself, you really dare to say that. But then again, one shouldn't sacrifice dignity to the point of giving up money. However, Chen Hao's bewilderment made Lin Yushan think that her words were having an effect. She couldn't help but feel a bit pleased. After all, with her good looks and great figure, what man wouldn't be moved? So Lin Yushan intensified her efforts. Brother, if you can't express your feelings for me, then just show it through your actions. Lin Yushan particularly emphasized the word do, making it clear what she meant. On the other end of the line, after a moment of silence, Chen Hao also gave his response. All right, then come over. I'm at this location. Upon seeing the location Chen Hao sent, Lin Yushan was instantly ecstatic. Ha! I knew it. Men are creatures that think with their lower halves. Now I have him right where I want him. Ha ha ha, 5 million, it's finally going to be mine. In this situation, Lin Yushan didn't even care why Chen Hao wanted to meet her in an uninhabited suburb. She probably still thought Chen Hao wanted to express his feelings in the wild. So Lin Yushan hurriedly called a ride, and even offered extra money for the driver to floor it. She was eagerly anticipating Chen Hao. No. To be precise, she wanted the 5 million from Chen Hao. So when the car arrived in the suburbs, and she saw the BMW 530 parked by the muddy road, Lin Yushan immediately got out of the car and rushed toward the BMW. In the wild, a BMW, a man and a woman Lin Yushan already had a good idea of what was about to happen. 5 million. Here I come. Just as Lin Yushan was about to reach the front of the BMW, the car suddenly accelerated. It shot off the line, leaving a long trail of smoke behind, speeding away at 200 kilometers per hour. Lin Yushan was completely dumbfounded. Wait. I haven't gotten in the car yet. I haven't gotten in yet. Lin Yushan hurriedly fumbled. Brother, what are you doing? I haven't gotten in yet. Didn't you say to show you through my actions what my feelings for you are? Right, so what are you doing? I'm showing you that my feelings for you are that I don't want to deal with you. Ha. Then Chen Hao hung up the phone, leaving Lin Yushan in disarray in the wind. This was the with no village in front and no shop behind, she was in the desolate wilderness where even a taxi couldn't be hailed. To get back she could only walk. Just thinking about that, Lin Yushan was already trembling slightly. She had dressed as sexy as possible to seduce Chen Hao. High heels, a short skirt, and no leggings underneath. So if she had to walk back on this muddy road, it would be enough to twist her ankle 800 times. Thus Lin Yushan's face twisted as she hysterically shouted, Chen Hao, you bastard. Bastard. But at that moment Chen Hao's mood was just like the BMW 530 beneath him speeding on, and it was quite easy. It took only half an hour to replicate a BMW 530, and the physical effort expended was roughly equivalent, and it was quite easy. It took only half an hour to replicate a BMW 530, and the physical effort expended was roughly equivalent to jogging for 10 minutes. But you should know Chen Hao used to be a long-distance running champion, even achieving a marathon time of 2 hours and 15 minutes. So the exercise of running for 10 minutes was far from his limit. It could only be considered a warm-up. With that, my chances of replicating the Ark of Noah have increased significantly. After all, my stamina is quite enduring. Now it's time to start stockpiling supplies. So Chen Hao lightly turned the steering wheel and headed to the most luxurious buffet restaurant in the city, where the average meal cost 2,000 yuan. A 5-star hotel. After all, for someone like Chen Hao who could infinitely replicate any item, quantity wasn't important. What mattered was variety. Because eating is just like dating a woman. Would you feel the same if you dated one woman 100 times versus 100 different women once each? So Chen Hao directly entered the restaurant. Reserve a private room for me. Sure, sir. The sweet-looking waitress replied, while leading Chen Hao to the room and providing him with a menu. In a truly luxurious buffet restaurant, customers wouldn't have to run around like dogs to get food, nor would they have to fight with others if they ran out. Everything was ordered from the menu, or whatever you wanted they would prepare for you, ensuring taste and quality. But Chen Hao didn't even look at the menu and simply said, bring me 2 of everything on the menu. Huh. I said for every dish listed on the menu, bring me 2 portions. The waitress was dumbfounded, knowing that many food bloggers had come to their restaurant, challenging to eat 50 lobsters to see if the restaurant would retaliate, challenging to eat 100 servings of caviar to see if the restaurant would faint. But the restaurant was actually making a profit from those tearful challenges. As for someone like Chen Hao who wanted 2 portions of everything, do note that they had more than 500 different items on their menu, including fried rice, noodles, fried rice cakes, which are substantial main courses. So even if 10 people came, they absolutely wouldn't finish it all. So the waitress timidly said, sir, we promote the clean plate policy here, and if you can't finish it, there's a fine of 100 yuan for every 100 grams. Implying that if you ordered so much, you wouldn't be able to leave without compensating several thousand yuan. After all, they only provided high-quality ingredients, such as abalone lobster steak and roasted lamb chops. 100 grams for 100 yuan isn't just the market price, it's not unreasonable either. But Chen Hao simply chuckled. If I can't finish it, I'll compensate you 100 yuan for every gram. Enough talking, just serve it to me. At Chen Hao's request, the waiter had no choice but to place an order for 2 of each dish with the kitchen. This large order immediately caused a stir throughout the restaurant. What's going on? 2 of each dish? Are you sure you're not joking? Who is this divine being? Ordering so much food, it must weigh over 200 gene, heavier than a person. Are you sure he can finish it all? Is this another influencer trying to attract attention? When it's time to pay, will he say, I'm an influencer, and if you don't give me a free meal, I'll expose you? The whispers of the waitstaff drew the restaurant manager's attention, prompting her to rush over personally. The manager, named Wu Mi, had voluminous curls on her head and was dressed in a sharp professional outfit, though it did little to conceal her figure, instead accentuating her impressive bosom, at least an E-cup. Thus she was nicknamed Big Secret. Despite her striking figure, her management style was quite formidable. Wu Mi adopted a no-nonsense demeanor as she entered. Get back to your posts. Anyone who dares to point fingers at the customer will be fired on the spot. Xiao Wu, Xiao Qi, you two are in charge of attending to this guest. Report any issues to me immediately. In an instant, the once lively entrance to the private room fell silent. Only Xiao Wu and Xiao Qi remained, continuously bringing in dishes. Hello, here are your supreme shrimp dumplings, crab roe, Xiao, my steamed chicken feet, and steamed ribs. However, halfway through her sentence, the two waitresses were left dumbfounded. More than a dozen dishes they had just delivered were already cleared by Chen Hao. Chen Hao impatiently urged them on. Just set it down, hurry with the rest, serve them while they're hot. Yes, yes. Xiao Wu and Xiao Qi stammered, clearly intimidated. For the next 2 hours, Chen Hao, Xiao Wu, and Xiao Qi were caught in a relentless cycle. Chen Hao continuously sending dishes to the creation space, while Xiao Wu and Xiao Qi kept bringing in new items and taking out old plates. There was no pause for a full 2 hours. Such an astonishing appetite was enough to prompt whispered discussions among the staff despite Wu Mi's strict orders against discussing Chen Hao. Can he really eat that much? What kind of stomach does it take to hold so much food? Who knows? Anyway, with billions of people, it's normal for one to have an extraordinary appetite. Hey, I've heard that the more a man can eat, the better he is in that department. If he can eat so much, does that mean he's good at— Wow. Should we ask for his WeChat later? A group of people were whispering among themselves. Wu Mi in her high heels approached them and scolded. What are you all gossiping about over there? We are service staff here to serve customers, not to judge them. This is your first warning. And your last. The stern tone displeased the waitstaff, but they felt helpless. After all, rank has its privileges. They could only disperse. However, Wu Mi herself was not in the mood to return to her office, because she had heard the comment. The more a man can eat, the better he is in that department. Although Wu Mi wasn't the type to be promiscuous, even the most powerful career woman has moments of loneliness at night, especially since she is quite picky when it comes to appearance and has found few men appealing for half a year. When Chen Hao entered, she noticed not only was he handsome, but he also had a great physique. Thus, Wu Mi didn't mind being friends with Chen Hao. Mutually beneficial, just a physical relationship without entangling in life. Sir, may I ask if you are satisfied with the taste of our dishes? Wu Mi said with a sweet smile, hoping to gauge Chen Hao's dining preferences while subtly flirting. Chen Hao glanced at Wu Mi and immediately saw the flirtatious glimmer in her eyes. This is the trouble of being handsome, one often finds women wanting to devour you. But Chen Hao had no intention of rejecting her, as his principle was, don't initiate, don't refuse, don't take responsibility. So he smiled slightly and replied, it's quite good, but there is room for improvement in the dining experience. Is that so? How about we add each other on WeChat and find a suitable time to discuss it in depth? I think tonight would be perfect. I'm worried I'll forget tomorrow. I finish work at 7 p.m. I'll wait for you downstairs at 7. Casually, Chen Hao obtained Wu Mi's WeChat. Of course, he also secured her entire evening. Excuse me, sir, your dishes have all been served. Would you like anything else? Xiao Wu and Xiao Qi said timidly, because throughout the meal, Chen Hao hadn't even burped, indicating he wasn't full yet. Oh, is everything served? That's fine, this is enough. Chen Hao waved them off, sending the astonished pair away as he prepared to continue sending food into the creation space. However, upon closer inspection, the last few dishes were quite suitable for posting on social media. So he casually posted on social media. After all, it's not enough to let others know you have money. You must also show them how extravagantly you spend it to make them envious. Just had a simple meal, and it cost 2,000 yuan. They say this is the most expensive in their restaurant. In an instant, countless people's takeout felt less appealing. Especially Lin Yushan. She was alone in the wilderness, cold and hungry, about to post on social media for help when she saw this, and her mindset completely collapsed. She was struggling on a muddy road in the outskirts while Chen Hao was enjoying himself in a luxurious restaurant. Chen Hao. Oh, Chen Hao. I will kill you. Kill you. Lin Yushan screamed, hysterically scaring away a kind-hearted driver who had stopped to offer her a ride. Men can save damsels, but a crazed woman is best avoided. Yet after her furious outburst, Lin Yushan gradually regained her composure. Because no amount of anger was worth 5 million yuan. 5 million. I must get my hands on 5 million. I refuse to eat cheap takeout for 20 yuan. Ew, I want a lavish meal costing 2,000 yuan. A 2,000 yuan luxurious dinner. After much thought, Lin Yushan realized she couldn't hesitate any longer and must resort to her ultimate weapon, seduction. Moreover, she could no longer foolishly rely on words to entice Chen Hao, as she had to use her physical assets directly. So Lin Yushan made a decisive decision. Go home. Then tonight, put on the prettiest makeup, wear the sexiest clothes, and knock on Chen Hao's door. Almost 2,000 kinds now. That's enough for today. After leaving the Emperor Hotel, Chen Hao visited several other 5-star hotels, sweeping through all their dishes. As for 4-star and below, sorry, he wouldn't even consider them. Almost 7 o'clock, time to pick up my wife for tonight. So Chen Hao drove to the Emperor Hotel's entrance to pick up Wu Mi and head home for some deeper exploration. But since Chen Hao drove a BMW 530 and was quite handsome, naturally women came to flirt. Handsome, your car is so beautiful. Can you take me for a spin? A woman with a 75-point face, wearing a miniskirt, swaying an 80-point figure, approached Chen Hao to strike up a conversation. She was very confident in herself. After all, she wasn't ugly, and besides, men could never resist women who threw themselves at them. Unfortunately, although Chen Hao's attitude was don't initiate, don't refuse, don't commit, there was still a baseline beneath those 9 words. Any woman with a figure or face below 80 points was a no-go. A man had to hold out for quality. He'd rather eat cake only once a week than stoop to eating garbage. So Chen Hao directly ignored this woman, but this woman clung to him. Handsome, don't ignore me. Besides, I'm not that kind of clueless girl, I'm very understanding, the woman said meaningfully. Unfortunately, Chen Hao still couldn't be bothered. Handsome, that's too much. I'm being so understanding, and you won't even acknowledge me. The miniskirt woman was trying hard to be coy when suddenly the crisp sound of high heels echoed, making her turn to look involuntarily. A woman with a figure over 95 points and a face at 90, a strong independent type, walked over with proud steady steps. It was Wumi, of course. She held a jacket over her left arm, stopped 5 steps away from Chen Hao and the miniskirt woman, and smiled. Am I interrupting? No, you're just in time. Chen Hao said this without even glancing at the miniskirt woman. Meaning, that woman is so annoying. You're just in time to rescue me. Wumi just smiled, said nothing more, and sat in the passenger seat, like the lady of the house. In an instant, only the embarrassed miniskirt woman was left on the spot, wishing she could crawl into a hole. She thought she had the right to cling on, but she was utterly outclassed. As for what Chen Hao and Wumi planned to do next, Chen Hao wasn't the type to lack romance. He wouldn't just say, let's go home, or let's go to a hotel, or rush things in the parking lot. Chen Hao took Wumi to a decent Western restaurant, the most expensive and luxurious one in the city, with a per-person cost of over 300 yuan. Why such a fancy Western restaurant? Wumi was a bit puzzled, swirling a glass of blood-red wine. Authentic 1982 Lafite. So how did the per-person cost hit 300 yuan? The steak was 800 yuan per serving, and the wine was 500 yuan per bottle. Chen Hao gently swirled his glass and smiled slightly. It's because I'm quite shallow. What do you mean? Because I always measure important people by money. For someone I don't care about, I wouldn't even buy them a 5 yuan fried rice. But for someone I truly value, I'd spend 500 yuan to take them to a concert. Oh, so buying me this 500 yuan bottle of wine means you really value me. Exactly right. Cheers. Chen Hao raised his glass slightly and downed half the wine in one go. It was smooth and delicate like chocolate gliding over his tongue. Not bad at all. He'll stash a bottle in the creation space later. Wumi also took a small sip, and immediately 2 blushes bloomed on her cheeks. After dinner, Chen Hao invited Wumi home, and she gladly agreed. Have a seat, I'll get some water. Chen Hao said with a smile, went to the living room for a bottle of water, and drank heartily to replenish the sweat. Because of his awakened powers, Chen Hao's physique had become exceptionally strong, so his need for water and energy had also grown. But just then a loud knock came at the door. Who is it? It's me, big brother. Outside, Lin Yushan put on her most alluring charm, trying to win Chen Hao over. But Chen Hao calmly picked his ear. Look, forget about the 5 million, I'm not giving it to you. Just give up. Big brother, actually I don't really want that 5 million. Oh, what I want is you. Lin Yushan said with unwavering determination, because she knew that Chen Hao could never resist her pleas, and it had always been that way. Sure enough, Chen Hao opened the door. Success. Lin Yushan thought, triumphantly ready to step in, but Chen Hao only opened the door without letting her in. Instead, he blocked the entrance, idly picking his ear with a finger while calling out, Mimi, come out and help me. Okay. Wumi walked out, her graceful figure so stunning that even Lin Yushan couldn't help but swallow. A truly perfect goddess was like that, captivating to everyone. So the contrast was clear. See, someone like you. I'm not interested at all. Chen Hao said disdainfully, then closed the door, wiping out the last shred of Lin Yushan's pride. Chen Hao, you bastard. Bastard. Lin Yushan roared hysterically, her face twisted with rage. From her perspective, Chen Hao was nothing but a dog to the Lin family, while she was the family's little princess. Yet she had humbled herself, thrown away her pride to get close to him, and what did she get in return? It was repeated humiliation from Chen Hao. So Lin Yushan completely dropped her gold-digger facade and revealed her true nature, a wolfish, predatory face. The kind that would gnaw bones clean. Chen Hao, don't think you can hold on to that 5 million comfortably. He'll squeeze every last cent out of you. You won't keep a single yuan. But Chen Hao didn't spare even a second to watch Lin Yushan's passionate, furious performance. He was busy having fun with Wumi. You have quite a few troubles, I've seen the second one already. Wumi said with a smile. Chen Hao chuckled lightly. Jealous? Not really. After all, I'm considered pretty, and I have plenty of suitors too. Some are quite... Oh, then I'm a little upset. Because I have suitors? No, because you said you're not jealous. So I have to beat you up. You're terrible. The next morning, Wumi packed up and left, as she was a woman with a strong career drive. But she left a message. In a few days, I'll treat you to dinner. It was essentially an invitation to meet again. What an interesting woman. One face during the day, another at night. Chen Hao stretched lazily, then went out again to sweep up more dishes. Since there was still some time before the apocalypse, the more categories he could stockpile, the better. But unexpectedly, as soon as he reached the ground floor, Chen Hao was surrounded by a crowd of people. Finally here. I've been waiting for this day for so long. Dear Mom and Dad and my brother and sister-in-law. Chen Hao smiled calmly at the 5 people before him. His father Lin Dashan, his mother Jiang, Suaping, their precious son Lin Jiawei, and Lin Jiawei's wife by Xiaojia. As for the last one, it was naturally Lin Yushan, her face twisted with resentment. Chen Hao, you forced me into this. Lin Yushan glared at Chen Hao with venomous hatred, as if she wished she could bite him to death. As a lofty little princess, she had deigned to approach Chen Hao. It should have been his honor. Yet he had humiliated her time and again. So Lin Yushan had no choice but to abandon her plan of pocketing the 5 million all for herself. Indeed, from the very start, Lin Yushan had intended to keep the entire 5 million. She had tampered with Lin Dashan and the others' phones, blocking Chen Hao's social media posts, and deleting all news of his lottery win. So it wasn't until this morning when Lin Yushan brought it up that the Lin family learned Chen Hao had won a grand prize of 5 million. How could you do this? For money you'd abandon your own family. Jiang Suaping spoke with feigned anguish, though in truth she was the one who beat Chen Hao the most fiercely. Not with a stick, but with a metal hanger, or even a charging cable. That cable was like a whip. One lash could take half your life. Several times, she had nearly beaten Chen Hao to death. Exactly, Chen Hao. You must have a conscience. You can't pretend your parents and us are strangers just for money. Bai Xiaojia fanned the flames as well. But after Chen Hao had slaved away to buy a house for the Lin family, when Lin Jiawei wanted to marry Bai Xiaojia, her first demand had been throw Chen Hao out and add my name Bai Xiaojia to the property deed. No deal otherwise. Yet Jiang Suaping and Bai Xiaojia at least knew to put on a pretense, tugging at family ties to moralize. But Lin Dashan and Lin Jiawei were far less polite. Lin Dashan thrust out his hand with a savage glare. How dare you? You won 5 million and try to hide it. Hand it over now, or I'll beat you to death today, you unfilial brat. Yeah, if you don't hand it over, you're not leaving today. Lin Jiawei chimed in from the side. Such a commotion naturally drew attention, and soon a crowd of onlookers gathered. After all, Chen Hao's 5 million win made many envious, so his troubles were a delight to them. Seeing the crowd, Jiang Suaping burst into loud sobs. Chen Hao, you can't be so heartless. We fed you, housed you, and sent you to college. You can't treat us like this now. You can't. Though you're not my birth son, I never treated you as an outsider. I am your mother. The onlookers began pointing fingers at Chen Hao. What terrible character. Even if he's not their biological child, they raised him for years. Exactly. They fed him, housed him, and sent him to college. And college is so expensive these days. At least 10 to 20,000 a year. He's utterly despicable. Indeed, in this world, the more heartless, the richer. But Chen Hao remained unmoved. In fact, he felt like laughing. What had he eaten as a child? Where had he slept? Did they dare say? If not for his robust constitution, surviving on discarded leftovers and sleeping on freezing concrete floors, he would have been dead long ago. As for college, Chen Hao could only sneer. The moment his admission letter arrived, Lin Dashan had thrown it away simply because Lin Jiawei hadn't gotten in. Chen Hao had to dig through the entire neighborhood's trash bins to retrieve it. And the tuition fees Chen Hao had scraped together through hard work, only for Lin Dashan to take Lin Jiawei and spend it on prostitutes, calling it a comingafage ceremony, forcing Chen Hao to take out online loans and live under the shadow of debt collectors throughout college. With a past like that, how dare they claim they treated him like a son? Was their own son worse off than a dog? But Chen Hao wouldn't argue. Arguing was useless. What truly worked was retaliation. So he scanned the crowd and spotted a burly man, Han Lei, the fitness coach from the next building, and called out to him. Hey, Han Lei want to earn 5,000 yuan easily. Huh. Han Lei was baffled. He was just a bystander, so why was he being singled out? Still, 5,000 yuan was tempting, equivalent to a month's wages. So Han Lei asked hesitantly, how do I earn it? Is it really that easy? Guaranteed easy. Just give him a slap, and he'll give you Chen Hao pointed at Lin Dashan. Lin Dashan roared in fury. You're hiring someone to hit me. This is But Han Lei thought it over, glanced at the red banner nearby. No fighting. Lose the fight, and end up in the hospital. Win it, and end up in jail. And immediately shrank back, shaking his head. No way, no way. We live in a society of law. I can't do anything illegal. Seeing Han Lei's attitude, the Lin family grew smug. The more law-abiding the society, the more pushovers there were, and the better shameless scoundrels like them could thrive. But they miscalculated one thing: where there is a heavy reward, there will be brave men. If no one does your bidding, it only means you haven't offered enough. So Chen Hao changed the burly man's mind with just 3 sentences, and the entire crowd's as well. 5,000 per slap, 10,000 for 2, with no upper limit. What? Han Lei was stunned, overwhelmed by the fortune. The first 2 sentences were nothing, but what did no upper limit mean? 2 slaps for 10,000, so 50 slaps. 100 slaps. That would be 3 to 500,000. And as everyone knew, Chen Hao had won big on scratch-off tickets. 5 million. So he could definitely afford it. Han Lei looked at Chen Hao seriously. Chen Hao, you're not joking, are you? One slap for 5,000. And no upper limit. His earnest tone made Lin Dashin genuinely. After all, Han Lei was a fitness coach. One slap could knock half the life out of him. But Lin Jiawei stood firmly beside Lin Dashin. Dad, don't be scared. I'm here to protect you. Good son. Lin Dashin nodded with satisfaction. They say father and son fight together. In a crisis, one's own son was truly reliable. But the next second Lin Dashin heard someone shout in dissatisfaction. Hey Chen Hao, what if I hit Lin? Will you pay me too? 5,000 per slap. Yeah, we can do it too. It's not like only Han Lei. Let us all join in. The crowd was already raring to go. If Chen Hao nodded, they'd beat Lin Dashin so badly, even his mother wouldn't recognize him in 5 seconds. Lin Dashin broke into a cold sweat. Crazy. Crazy. These people are all insane. Son, let's get out of here quickly. But when he turned around, Lin Jiawei had already retreated far away, even drawing a clear line between himself and his father. Dad, they're after you, not me. You little brat. Lin Dashin cursed in fury. Unwittingly, he cursed himself too. Being betrayed by his own son was a bitter pill to swallow. But for now, he was only suffering a mental blow. The next moment, he would face a physical one. Under everyone's gaze, Chen Hao gave an answer that would drive the whole crowd wild. Listen up, everyone. If you hit Lin Dashin, come to me for money. 5,000 per slap. 10,000 per, no upper limit. And record it on video to claim your money. No cheating. As soon as Chen Hao finished speaking, before Lin Dashin could even grasp what was happening, a flurry of fists rained down upon his head, plunging his vision into a dizzying darkness. Lin Dashin hastily tucked his head and fled, but the moment he crouched, countless feet flew toward his face, knocking him to the ground, where he was kicked from all sides. Adding insult to injury, Lin Dashin dimly glimpsed his own good son Lin Jiawei mingling in the crowd, eagerly landing a few kicks on him as well. After all, Chen Hao had said anyone who beat Lin Dashin would be paid. It never said his own son couldn't join. As for Zhang Cuiping by Xiaojia and Lin Yushan, they kept their distance, yet they dared not provoke Chen. After all, Lin Dashin had fully demonstrated the consequences of angering Chen Hao, so their gazes toward him were filled with fear, let alone daring to go up and bother Chen Hao again. Damn it, Chen Hao, you son of a... Lin Dashin barely started cursing when a foot suddenly slammed into his mouth, forcing him to swallow the rest of his words. But the most infuriating part, Lin Dashin saw clearly this time. That kick came from none other than his own good son Lin Jiawei. Lin Dashin's eyes blazed with fury. He wanted to tell Lin Jiawei that he had seen him strike. But Lin Jiawei, perhaps feeling guilty or flustered, frantically kicked Lin Dashin in the eyes a few more times, giving Lin Dashin a pair of black eyes and knocking him unconscious from sheer rage. Only then did the crowd regain some reason. A life wasn't worth risking for 300 or 500 yuan. A symbolic beating worth 200 or 300 was enough. Glancing at Chen Hao, who had already vanished without a trace, the group dispersed, chatting and laughing. I slapped him 5 times and kicked him 3 times. What about you? Alas, too many people I couldn't squeeze into. I only managed 1 kick before it was impossible to get closer. What a shame. I saw that Han Lei grabbing Lin Dashin by the collar and slapping him hard. At least 20. Damn, that's over 100,000 yuan. What a sly fox. No kidding. By the way, how do we get the money from Chen Hao? I don't have his WeChat. Just add him in the group chat. Isn't he in the community group? Right. Almost forgot. Only after most had left did Lin Jiawei and a few others go over to help Lin Dashin up, placing a finger under his nose to check if he was still breathing. But Lin Dashin abruptly slapped Lin Jiawei. Dad, you weren't unconscious, Lin Jiawei said, covering his face. Lin Dashin's anger flared even more. Damn it. If I hadn't pretended to be out cold, would you have kicked me a few more times? Dad, I was just afraid Chen Hao would give our families 5 million to others. So I wanted to get back as much as possible. Damn it. A son hitting his father, and you think you're in the right. Lin Dashin was so furious, he could almost vomit blood, wondering what kind of rotten son he had raised. It was by Xiaojia who stepped in to smooth things over. Jiawei, what you did was wrong. Apologize to your father quickly. Then she secretly gave Lin Jiawei a thumbs up. Well done. Dad's body is his own, but the money is ours. Lin Jiawei chuckled. Honey, that's exactly what I thought. Great minds think alike. But compared to Bai Xiaojia's hypocritical mediation, Lin Yushan felt nothing but venom. Venom. And more venom. She would never rest until she squeezed those 5 million from Chen Hao. Dad, don't scold my brother. He's right. That 5 million belongs to our family, not Chen Hao. Lin Dashin fell silent, thinking the same. But they really had no way to deal with Chen Hao. Yushan, what's your idea? We can hire someone. Just take Chen Hao out. What? You want to kill Chen Hao? Lin Dashin and Lin Jiawei were both horrified. Though they had considered many schemes to get money from Chen Hao, they had never thought of taking a life. But after a few seconds of silence, the Lin family's expressions grew resolute. They even saw Lin Yushin's suggestion as a viable proposal. Chill. It's not convenient to talk outside. Let's go home. All right. Meanwhile, Chen Hao was looking at a large Land Rover, nodding with satisfaction. Not bad. Not bad. Among all SUVs, the Land Rover has always been top tier, whether in comfort or safety. If a Land Rover collides with another car, unless the opponent is a tank, the Land Rover will always win. I'm very satisfied with this car. Chen Hao promptly transferred the money to Manager Yu and gave him instructions for the next day. Tomorrow get me an excavator. Oh, and also get me a half-dead Mercedes. Remember, as long as it can drive, make it as shabby as possible, don't hold back. Manager Yu was dumbfounded. An excavator was one thing, but a half-dead Mercedes. What did that mean? But considering Chen Hao's generosity, Manager Yu immediately gave an okay sign, then turned and posted on his moments. Help! I need a half-dead Mercedes. No joke. Seeing Manager Yu's expression that screamed, "You rich folks are so peculiar," Chen Hao just gave a calm chuckle. The BMW Land Rover and excavator. Chen Hao had deliberately arranged them in order from small to large. His goal was to train his replication ability. As for the half-dead Mercedes, it was no joke. Chen Hao planned the next phase of testing, infusing his own will into the objects he replicated. For instance, transforming a half-dead Mercedes into a brand new, excellent one. With my current ability, I should be able to do this, but mastering it will require practice to achieve perfection. Chen Hao flashed a sinister smile. In his past life, it was precisely this transformation ability that allowed him to rise to power rapidly. Why? Because after the Great Flood, most of the world's supplies were soaked and ruined, becoming worthless waste. But Chen Hao could transform these items back to their original state. What did that mean? It meant he could control the vast majority of the world's resources. What immense wealth that was. What's going on? At that moment, Chen Hao's phone began to vibrate incessantly, like a little Shih Tzu, trembling nonstop. Opening it, he saw it was the bystanders who had beaten Lin Dashin, frantically adding him as a friend through the group chat. Chen Hao, accept my friend request. I'm here to collect the money. Hurry up and pay. Don't try to renege. If you do, you won't be able to live in this neighborhood. Each one was more aggressive than a lone shark. But Chen Hao calmly accepted their requests and sent them a group message. Send the video and your names. I need name verification for the transfer. Was Chen Hao really going to transfer money to them? Of course not. Name verification was just an excuse. The real purpose was to precisely identify each person. What for? Sorry, Chen Hao never accepts threats. He was going to retaliate. Hello, ID like to report an assault. I have video evidence. Chen Hao said with a sinister grin. Within the residential compound, many were discussing Chen Hao's affairs, though none of it was complimentary. That Chen Hao is nothing but a nouveau riche. Gets a bit of money and starts acting all high and mighty. Exactly. Offering 5,000 for a slap and 10,000 for a kick. He acts like he won 50 billion, but it was only 5 million. Anyway, my 3 punches and 2 kicks mean he owes me 15,000. You think he'll welch on the debt? He wouldn't dare. So many of us fought for him. If he doesn't pay up, he won't leave this compound alive. But as they chatted, someone broke bad news. Holy crap. Did you hear? A police car just came and took Han Lei away. What's going on? No idea. Someone reported him for brawling. That guy's an idiot. Getting into a fight and not keeping a low profile. And he's brainless. Couldn't he just deny it? No, they say there's video evidence of the fight. Unbelievable. He's a total moron. Fighting out in the open and letting someone film it as proof. Word is he filmed it himself. What an idiot. Fighting and filming yourself. Wait, did he film it himself? Was it from this morning? Exactly how do you know? The group fell silent because what video had Han Lei filmed that morning? It was the one of them brutally beating Lin Dashin. So if Han Lei was taken away, none of them were safe either. Sure enough, minutes later, loud banging echoed at many doors. Police, open up and cooperate with the investigation. Only then did the group realize the idiots were themselves. At the same time, in apartment 2102, Lin Dashin's family sat together. I've confirmed with the lawyer that even though Chen Hao isn't on our household registry, as long as we can prove we raised him and have a foster relationship, we can inherit his 5 million. Hearing Lin Yushin's findings, Lin Dashin and Lin Zhouwei excitedly rubbed their hands. After all, 5 million was a sum most people could never earn in a lifetime. But they also heard the chaos outside with sirens wailing. What's happening out there? Lin Dashin went to the window and saw police escorting people into cars. To his shock, he recognized every single one of them. They were the ones who had beaten him that very morning. Beside him, Lin Zhouwei cursed as he saw a group chat message. Damn. Chen Hao, to avoid paying up, actually reported everyone who helped him this morning. Seriously. Lin Dashin was stunned. Not only did he refuse to pay, but he called the cops. This was pushing toward mortal enmity. Yet upon hearing this, Lin Yushan laughed with malicious glee. Perfect. This is a golden— What? Chen Hao has offended so many people. Wouldn't it be only natural if he got beaten to death in revenge? Lin Dashan and Lin Zhouwei paused for a few seconds, then madness gleamed in their eyes. They could already see the 5 million beckoning them. So Dad, when the police come to question you, you know how to cooperate, right? Make sure these people end up in jail. Why, oi? No reason. Just to put them behind bars. Only then will they hate Chen Hao to the bone. Alright, I understand. Remembering the beating he took, Lin Dashan seethed with rage. This was the perfect chance for revenge. Meanwhile, in the group chat, Chen Hao watched videos of each person being taken away, a sweet smile curling his lip. Oh my, look at you old demers in your 60s joining in on a brawl. TSK, TSK, TSK. On the bus you all claim your legs are weak, but when it came to stomping Lin Dashan, you were fiercer than Bruce Lee. Chen Hao taunted. And as for whether he feared them turning around and accusing him of instigating the mob, the answer was no. This was a society governed by law. If you claim I instigated it, you'd better have evidence. Do you have a video? No. Then off to jail you go. Brawling carries a maximum sentence of 15 days detention. Anyone who'd fight for a few $1,000 is no good. Come the apocalypse, they'll be nothing but outlaws. Right? They'll blacklist them now. When the torrential rain comes, I won't let them within a foot of me. Chen Hao silently kept a ledger, noting every name. Then he resumed his daily flex. Sigh, the Land Rover's boxy shape is so ugly, but once I learned it costs over 2 million, suddenly, it looked quite refined. As soon as the video was posted, it drew countless likes and comments from beautiful women. Woomy, out having fun again today. Her words were simple, like an old friend's greeting, comforting to hear. An unlabeled beauty, CEO Chen, free tonight. I'd love to have dinner with you, and whisper some playful words. If not for recognizing the avatar as the sales manager from Vacheron Constantine, Chen Hao might have forgotten her. And that whisper, was it the innocent kind? Former department head Zhang Meili, CEO Chen, driving such a nice car, when will you take me for a spin? I love driving too, you know. Chen Hao's verdict on her was just 2 words, humph. Anna, the widow whose husband died newlywed. Brother, what about the bag you promised me? Actually, I don't really want the bag. I just miss you, hee hee. Her flirtations were enough to make one's bones melt. Chen Hao suddenly recalled that day because of a major secret had asked Anna to postpone her visit, and then completely forgot. No wonder they say the rich are forgetful, with new beauties appearing every day who remembers the old ones. Still, Chen Hao replied to Anna, come to my place tonight. It wasn't for any other reason than to show the neighbors what a heavenly life he was living. Wealth beyond measure and women at his beck and call. Just then a new message popped up in his feed. Brother Hao, you're in danger. Brother Hao, you're in danger. Haozi was the nickname Chen Hao's good buddy Zhou Ting used to tease him with, but after his death only one person would call him, that Zhou Ting's sister Zhou Xiaoxiao. So Chen Hao opened Zhou Xiaoxiao's WeChat. Xiaoxiao, what have you heard? Lots of people in the neighborhood are saying that Brother Hao went too far. Not only did he refuse to pay, but he even called the cops. So when you get back, they're going to kill you. Reading Zhou Xiaoxiao's message, Chen Hao sneered disdainfully. If threats worked, who would need guns? Brother Hao, you've been a bit too flashy lately. You weren't like this before. Zhou Xiaoxiao sent another message. In her memory, Chen Hao was a low-key, yet determined man, so the current Chen Hao felt somewhat unfamiliar to her. But how could she know that people change, especially after dying once? Don't worry, your brother Hao is always your brother Hao. No need to fret. Then you be careful. And, in that area, be careful too. Huh, what area? You know? That area. Before you do anything, better get tested first. Chen Hao was instantly covered in black lines. He thought to himself, Xiaoxiao, you're just a young girl, how did you start secretly prying into my private life? But on second thought it made sense. After all, Zhou Xiaoxiao had harbored feelings for him for quite some time. So when Zhou Ting was alive, he often warned Chen Hao, if you're a real brother, don't mess with my sister. Unless I'm dead. Recalling these memories, Chen Hao couldn't help but smile warmly. Then he remembered what Zhou Xiaoxiao had just mentioned. I have been a bit flashy lately. Well, just a bit, not enough. I need to step it up. Chen Hao grinned wickedly. The most frustrating thing in life is when those you look down on keep thriving while your own life goes downhill. Coincidentally, the entire neighborhood used to look down on Chen Hao, thinking he was nothing but Lin family's dog. Then let me show you how I'll live a life you can't even dream of. An hour later, Chen Hao swaggered back into the neighborhood. As soon as people saw him, many eyes turned red. Chen Hao, you son of a... What did you say? I said, you son of a gun, you're looking pretty sharp today. A man who had been about to curse at Chen Hao suddenly lost his nerve. Why? No reason. Because Chen Hao was flanked by 18 bodyguards in black suits. All in black suits, black pants, and black sunglasses. They looked like trouble. Anyone who dared disrespect Chen Hao would have to be ready to get beaten to a pulp. So Chen Hao, surrounded by his bodyguards, strode majestically into the neighborhood. Those who had threatened to deal with him didn't dare utter a single word. They only dared to mutter behind his back. What's there to show off? Winning 5 million and acting like you won 500 billion. Come on, honey, let's go. I want stoop to his level. But when he called his wife, he found her staring blankly at Chen Hao's back, utterly captivated. After all, women are naturally drawn to strength. Though Chen Hao might not be the strongest, he was certainly far more impressive than their worthless husbands. For a moment the neighborhood was rife with unease, because no man likes the thought of a green hat on his head. Why does it feel like so many people want to devour me? Chen Hao muttered suspiciously, feeling as if he was being stalked by a pack of hungry wolves. Those looks clearly wanted to strip him clean, leaving not a drop behind. And no rush. When the storm comes, there'll be plenty of opportunities. Chen Hao wasn't in a hurry. He had something more important to do: rent an apartment. In fact, he was going to rent the entire floor below him. Because in his past life, the tenant living downstairs, upon discovering that Chen Hao still had supplies at home, had gone mad in the dead of night, digging through the ceiling. He even crawled up with a cleaver trying to kill Chen Hao. Luckily, Chen Hao had been suffering from insomnia and caught him in time, so he didn't die in his sleep. But the incident left him with a deep psychological shadow. So Chen Hao had to prevent this from happening again. Hey, open up. We're here to rent an apartment. Chen Hao flicked his finger and 2 bodyguards went to knock on the door of apartment 3101. Because Chen Hao's neighborhood was a resettlement community, some apartments were bought, others allocated for relocation. So many people owned several properties and rented them out for income. The 31st floor was like that. All 4 apartments belonged to one old man. Hearing the knock, the old man from 3101 creaked open the door and grumpily asked, What's the matter? As mentioned, this was a resettlement community, so many residents were related. Among those Chen Hao had reported that morning was this old man's cousin. Chen Hao pointed at the other apartments and said, I want to rent an apartment. ID rent to anyone but you. The old man started to close the door. Chen Hao calmly said, I'll pay triple the price. Suddenly the old man felt that family ties weren't so important anymore, but he still hesitated. It's not about the money, it's just that these apartments are already rented out and the tenants are living well. Chen Hao understood. It wasn't about the money, it was that the money wasn't enough. So he cut straight to the chase. I'll pay 5 times the price. Any other issues? No issues at all. The old man's eyes went wide. The average rent in their neighborhood was about 300 yuan per apartment. 5 times that was 15,000 yuan. 4 apartments together made a full 6,000 yuan. A year would be 7,000 yuan. Who wouldn't be tempted by that? So what if the current tenants were living well? Blocking someone's fortune is like killing their parents. Kick them all out, that's the way. Seeing the old man lost in his wealthy dream, Chen Hao sneered contemptuously. When the apocalypse comes, 7,000 a year. Not a single cent will you get. Alright, you guys stay here. These apartments will be your dorms from now on. Yes, Boss Chen. Remember, anyone who wants to pass through here to get to the 32nd floor must have my approval, understood? Good. Chen Hao nodded and headed upstairs alone. Before the apocalypse officially began, this was still a society governed by law, so hiring a group of thugs to intimidate the neighborhood was the most direct and effective method. But when the apocalypse comes, those thugs by my side could become the killers who take me down. So I can't stop developing the creation space ability. In fact, I need to speed it up. Chen Hao muttered to himself, then noticed a small pink pouch hanging from the doorknob of his apartment. What is this? Chen Hao curiously picked up the small pouch and opened it to find several testing needles inside along with a small card. The handwriting on the card was rather elegant. Bro, howsy, stay safe, Xiao Xiao. The corner of Chen Hao's mouth twitched. This little girl. What kind of testing needles were these? Naturally, they were testing needles for checking if someone had a sexually transmitted disease. And Zhou Xiao Xiao, being thoughtful, had even chosen the rapid-acting type that showed results in just 1 minute. Was she worried that Chen Hao might be in too much of a hurry and wouldn't wait for the results before getting down to business? How should I put this? It felt like someone else was about to get intimate with your goddess, and not only did you hand her a protective barrier, but you also asked, do you prefer strawberry or lemon flavor? But when the roles are reversed, why does it inexplicably feel a bit endearing? Chen Hao couldn't quite figure out Zhou Xiaoxiao's thoughts. Maybe when you truly care for someone, you just can't bear to see them get hurt. But come to think of it, since my rebirth, why do I always feel like I have boundless energy? Chen Hao was a bit suspicious. Though he was still a young man, his current vigor far surpassed what it was before his. Could it be that I'm not just destined to create things, but also to create people, eh? At the thought of creating people, Chen Hao felt his desire surge, so he pulled out his phone and sent a message to the alluring widow Anna. Come over. Grab your bag. Then he went back to his room to wait. 10 minutes later, Anna still hadn't arrived, but the bodyguards downstairs called first. Hello, Mr. Chen, there's a woman named Anna here who wants to take the elevator to the 32nd floor. We've stopped her. Is she your guest? Yes. I called her up. Let her through. Understood. Chen Hao was pleased with the bodyguard's response. Anna had been intercepted as soon as she reached the 31st floor, proving they were all diligent. So Anna started complaining the moment she arrived. Brother Chen, why did you hire so many bodyguards downstairs? You nearly scared me to death. Chen Hao said nothing calmly, placing a handbag on the table. And now, inside the elevator. Once we get up there, first trick Chen Hao into opening the door, then we'll all rush in and pin him down. Lin Dashin said, holding a coil of rope, then turned his gaze to Bai Xiaojia, a look of entrustment in his eyes. Xiaojia, whether we can trick Chen Hao into opening the door is up to you. Don't worry, Dad, leave it to me. Haven't they said it before? Nothing beats dumplings for a meal and nothing. Bai Xiaojia struck a seductive pose with utmost confidence. After all, she had once been a model, so in terms of looks and figure she scored above 80. Plus, with her special identity as a sister-in-law, she didn't believe Chen Hao would be completely indifferent. Lin Zhouwei, standing nearby, chimed in with high praise. Exactly. My wife is so gorgeous, who wouldn't fall for her charms? Ha ha ha. Alright, we're almost at the 32nd floor. Keep a low profile and don't let Chen Hao catch on to anything. Lin Yushan said cautiously. Today she was determined to kill Chen Hao and claim the 5 million that rightfully belonged to her. But little did they expect, as soon as they reached the 31st floor, the elevator doors opened, revealing a group of burly black-clad bodyguards standing outside. The Lin family was stunned. Well, what's going on? The bodyguards, expressionless, stepped into the elevator, preventing it from going up, and demanded aggressively. What are your names? Then they called Chen Hao. Hello, Mr. Chen, there are a few people here who want to go to the 32nd floor. Their names are Lin Dashin, Lin Zhouwei Jiang, Suaping, Lin Yushan, and Bai Xiaojia. Should we let them through? Oh, those people. They're my enemies, so you know what to do, right? Chen Hao said as he pressed on his head down. The bodyguard nodded knowingly. Understood, Mr. Chen. Won't this cause me any trouble? Don't worry, Mr. Chen. We're professionals. The black-clad bodyguards smiled confidently. After all, they had plenty of methods to make someone's life a living hell while leaving no trace of injury. That's what being a professional meant. As the bodyguards revealed a cruel grin, Lin Dashin and the others were all struck with sheer terror. What are you doing? What are you doing? Ah. Hearing the pig-like screams echoing from downstairs, Chen Hao felt an immense sense of satisfaction. But this was far from enough. How could the years of oppression he had endured be repaid with just a little bit of pain? I still need to torment them more. A sinister smile curled on Chen Hao's lips. A full 2 hours later, the Lin family finally made their way home in utter disarray. Each of them racked with soul-deep pain, yet showing barely any visible injuries. Lin Dashin cursed through gritted teeth. That bastard Chen Hao. How dare he treat me like this? Easy for you to say. We didn't even get to see him before we got beaten to a pulp. My legs are still shaking. Jiang Suaping gasped heavily. If she weren't so old that no one could get it up, one might think she had just been ravaged repeatedly. Even Lin Zhouwei was starting to lose heart. Maybe we should just give up? Damn it. After all these days, we haven't gotten a single cent, and we're almost dead. No way. I still want to buy a handbag. Bai Xiaojia grew frantic. She had already boasted to her girlfriends that she would buy the latest LV handbag of the year. If she didn't, she'd be the laughingstock. At a time like this, you're still thinking about a handbag. Can you be realistic and look at all the lumps we've got on our bodies from the beating? Why are you acting tough now? Where was that courage earlier? That was then, this is now. Besides, what's wrong with me being tough at home? What's wrong with me being tough at home? How then, why aren't you so tough in bed? The atmosphere grew tense. Lin Zhouwei was indignant, but couldn't argue back. Jiang Suaping shot an annoyed glance at Lin Dashin, who could only hang his head in defeat. Shut the hell up, all of you. At the roar, everyone's eyes turned to Lin Yushan. Her face was twisted with fury. Repeated failures had driven her to the brink of madness. Since we can't kill Chen Hao ourselves, we'll hire someone professional. You can't catch a wolf without risking a child. What do you mean? Hire an assassin. Get an assassin to take Chen Hao out. News of Chen Hao monopolizing access to the 31st floor spread throughout the entire residential complex in no time, causing many who had planned to ambush him to retreat with curses of frustration. Despite their grievances, they could do nothing against Chen Hao. The 32nd floor was unique, housing only 2 rental units, one occupied by Chen Hao and the other by Zhou Xiaoxiao. Since they didn't live there, what reason did they have to go up? No plausible excuse meant malicious intent. Unable to justify themselves, they could only grind their teeth in hatred. No matter, even a tiger dozes off sometimes, let alone a few bodyguards. Surely they'll slack off. Then we'll teach him a lesson. But to their utter surprise, when they checked at 5 p.m., the guards were diligently at work. At 9 p.m., the guards were still vigilant. At 3 a.m., they remained alert. Because they were and top-tier ones at that. Previously, they had protected celebrities and wealthy heirs, undertaking dangerous missions without a single mishap. Dealing with a few unruly locals was child's play. After a whole night, when Chen Hao stepped out of the building refreshed, he found a crowd staring at him with dark circles under their eyes and venomous glares. Their expressions were filled with gnashing hatred. Chen Hao, Among them, some had fathers reported to the police, some had brothers imprisoned due to his reports. Others had husbands sent to jail. They all wished to skin him alive. Now they shared a common plight, utter helplessness against Chen Hao. This feeling is exhilarating. Chen Hao stretched lazily, savoring their impotent rage. Were these neighbors innocent? Not in the slightest. In his previous life before being killed, Chen Hao had endured at least 3 rounds of Had he not hidden some food with desperate effort, he would have starved to death before the Lin family devoured him. In the apocalypse, looting supplies was no different from murder. No difference at all. The only distinction was that killing was more merciful, sparing one the slow agony who had looted Chen Hao. Primarily, these demolition relocates. Bound by kinship, they united far faster than others in the apocalypse. Thus no one could resist them. But now things are different. I have the creation space. A faint smile curled on Chen Hao's lips as he anticipated the apocalyptic battle with these relocates. He would make them suffer, slowly repaying the pain of his past life 100-fold, 1,000-fold. Reporting them to the police was merely collecting a bit of interest. Let's go. Drop me at this address, then you're free. Pick me up in 2 hours. Yes, Mr. Chen. The black-suited bodyguards were professionals, asking no unnecessary questions, simply following orders. Where was Chen Hao heading? To see Manager Yu for the half-dead Mercedes, and the excavator no man can resist. The excavator was for honing his replication ability. The half-dead Mercedes was to test whether he could infuse his personal will into created objects. For instance, could he replicate the decrepit Mercedes while imbuing it with his will, turning the copy into a brand? How crucial was this ability? Simply put, after the torrential rains, 99 of the world's supplies would be soaked in radioactive floodwaters. Rendered useless. If Chen Hao could replicate and restore them, that 99 of abandoned resources would become his treasure trove. Thinking about it gets me excited. Let's test it first. Celebrating prematurely was unwise. Chen Hao arrived at the meeting point with Manager Yu. True to expectations, Yu had a versatile network and indeed found the half-dead Mercedes. And an excavator as well. Mr. Chen, see if this car meets your requirements, Manager Yu said, grandly presenting the battered vehicle. Its tires were nearly bald, the body grimy, as if unwashed for centuries. Most notably, it had logged 500 kilometers. More than several journeys to the west by Tangsan. Excellent. Chen Hao nodded approvingly. If he could restore even this, what couldn't he restore? He promptly transferred 5,000 yuan to Manager Yu. Alright, I'll call you if I need anything. Also, I might be slow these days. If I forget the rent, he'll cover it for you. Manager Yu's fawning smile betrayed his eagerness. The excavator and the dying Mercedes had little resale value. With away from Chen Hao, Manager Yu scurried off, having earned at least 3,000 yuan from this deal. Once you left, Chen Hao immediately stored both vehicles into his creation space. As expected, after systematic training, starting small and gradually increasing difficulty, his replication speed had noticeably improved. Previously, replicating a bullet took 3 seconds, now only 2. Replicating a massive excavator took just an hour. Earlier, copying a BMW had taken half an hour, yet the excavator was over 3 times its size. My replication ability is advancing rapidly. At this rate, replicating an Ark is no problem. Next up, the question of modification. Chen Hao's gaze fell on the half-dead Mercedes. Replication fused with modification was an untested ability, and he had no idea what toll it would take on him. It begins. Chen Hao closed his eyes and began to replicate this half-dead Mercedes. Within the creation space, a hazy phantom emerged like a 3-dimensional projection, revealing the form of a Mercedes. This was an inevitable process every time Chen Hao replicated an object. First the phantom, then but this time Chen Hao made a slight alteration. While the object was still a phantom, he infused his own will. Transform according to my will. As Chen Hao's thoughts poured into the phantom, the Mercedes, still an apparition, eerily underwent a subtle change. Though it was only a faint trace, note that it was still merely a phantom. Thus, as time passed, that subtle change gradually magnified, and magnified again until a qualitative transformation occurred. Success. Chen Hao opened his eyes with a smile, for at that moment a brand new Mercedes had materialized within his creation space. Chen Hao then retrieved the new Mercedes, got in, and floored the accelerator. The Mercedes roared to life, achieving a 0 to 100 km/h acceleration in 3.5 seconds, delivering a powerful surge of thrust that pinned him to his seat. Confirmed. This was definitely not the blistering speed a junker with 5,000 kilometers on the odometer could produce. Ha ha ha. From now on, I am the god of this world. Chen Hao couldn't help but burst into laughter. Possessing the 2 heaven-defying skills of replication and modification, if he wasn't a god, then who was? Possessing replication. As long as he obtained a sample, he could replicate it infinitely. Possessing modification. Once the floodwaters came, Chen Hao could go around scavenging discarded rockets, warships, submarines, and the like. After modifying these wastes, forming an apocalyptic legion would be a breeze, wouldn't it? So Chen Hao's belief that he was the god of this post-apocalyptic world was not an exaggeration, or it might even be somewhat modest. However, using the modification ability consumes more of my energy, roughly 1.5 times the normal replication cost. But with plenty of practice, this consumption can be reduced. Unexpectedly, the experiment progressed so smoothly that Chen Hao couldn't be bothered to keep the two pieces of junk, the excavator and the Mercedes, any longer. He simply called Manager Yu to take them back. However, Chen Hao still paid Manager Yu for the full day's service and even gave him an extra 100 yuan as a tip, moving Manager Yu so much he almost called him daddy. Next up is seclusion for cultivation. Chen Hao chuckled. This seclusion wasn't about locking himself away from the world. It meant leveraging the power of online shopping to have everything purchasable delivered straight to his home. Then he would stuff it all into the creation space for replication. So in the following days, Chen Hao became the husband every woman in the neighborhood dreamed of, because Chen Hao was truly the one who cleared out shopping carts. Hello, your delivery is here. There are 13 boxes in total. Would you like to come down and get them, or should I bring? The delivery driver looked at the 13 large boxes and felt his legs trembling at the thought. If he had to carry all this up alone, he'd be dead tired. But Chen Hao said considerately, wait downstairs for a moment. Then the delivery driver was shocked to see 4 black-suited bodyguards come down from upstairs who effortlessly carried the boxes away. The delivery driver was dumbfounded. So this is how the rich shop online. Even getting deliveries, they have bodyguards handle it. And 4 bodyguards came down at once. But what left the delivery driver even more astounded was yet to come. Just as he was about to leave, he saw a colleague arrive driving a large truck. His colleague called tremblingly, "Hello, your truckload of deliveries is here." "Yes, there's another truckload coming." Then the bodyguards came down again, the same 4. The delivery driver watched, beginning to question his own. Good grief, so his own 13 boxes were just an appetizer. But this couldn't really be blamed on Chen Hao. After all, this was an era of abundant resources. Just because the apocalypse was coming, why should he lower his quality of life? So fearing he might go hungry, it was perfectly reasonable to prepare some food right. A total of over 200 kinds of food covering the 8 major cuisines of Sichuan, Shandong, Cantonese, Jiangsu, Zhejiang, Fujian, Hunan, and Anhui, plus all the classic dishes from Michelin-starred restaurants. So fearing he might get thirsty, it was perfectly reasonable to prepare some drinks right. Not only did he prepare drinking water, but also over 600 kinds of alcoholic beverages and soft drinks, mainly categorized as beer, foreign liquor, baijiu cocktails, cola, coffee, and so on. So fearing he might get bored, it was perfectly reasonable to prepare some pastimes right. He hoarded over 100 kinds of entertainment items, including, but not limited to, games, TV series, sports equipment, and adult toys. As for whether Chen Hao's massive stockpiling in such a short time would attract regulatory attention, the answer, because Chen Hao only sought variety in categories, not quantity in individual items. So from the regulator's perspective, Chen Hao was at most a hoarder, just someone who liked collecting things. What truly put regulators on alert were those who hoarded large quantities of 1 or 2 items, because such people were either trying to monopolize the market or planning to rebel. They were dangerous elements who would be eliminated without a second thought. So based on this, Chen Hao completely evaded regulatory scrutiny, collecting various supplies without any trouble. This way, even if the end comes, my life will be quite comfortable, hee. Chen Hao opened his eyes with a sly grin. The reserves in his creation space were now terrifyingly vast. It was even more comprehensive than a Walmart. Because what Walmart had, Chen Hao had too. And what Walmart didn't have, Chen Hao also had. Moreover, after days of training, Chen Hao had developed a killing method for his ability, a means to kill without. With this, Chen Hao feared almost no one. But the most important thing, Noah's Ark. Why hasn't there been any news? Didn't they say last week it would be arranged this Monday? Chen Hao picked up his phone, suspiciously wondering if something had gone wrong. Without Noah's Ark, even with all these supplies, Chen Hao simply couldn't survive in the era of torrential floods. Will anything go wrong? Chen Hao, feeling frustrated, picked up his phone and then solved the case. It wasn't that there was a problem with the Noah's Ark. Rather, a few days ago, while Chen Hao was focusing on duplicating items, Zhang Meili kept sending him messages, sending some self-proclaimed sexy photos, only to have Chen Hao disable the new message notifications. As a result, Chen Hao did not receive notifications for the messages that Zhang Meili sent later, including those regarding Noah's Ark. Brother Chen, Noah's Ark has been repaired. When can you come to check it out? Finally, it's done. Seeing that Noah's Ark had not encountered any issues, Chen Hao finally breathed a sigh of relief. It's important to know that after the storm comes, the sea levels of Earth will rise dramatically. At that time, the land available for habitation would be less than 1% of the entire Earth. Under such conditions, a safe and reliable yacht is the foundation for survival. Then let's prepare to set off and turn this Noah's Ark into a fleet of Noah's Arks. A wicked smile immediately appeared on Chen Hao's lips. Indeed, The most outrageous aspect of his creation space is that it ignores craftsmanship and only considers the size and density of the object to determine the difficulty of duplication. Therefore, the highly precise Noah's Ark, which is difficult to replicate in the outside world due to craftsmanship, is merely a matter of time for Chen Hao. Thus, Chen Hao immediately set off for the vast yacht club. However, he did not expect that as soon as he opened the door, he would see Zhou Xiaoxiao lurking outside preparing to leave him a test needle. Chen Hao helplessly grabbed Zhou Xiaoxiao's little head. I said, Xiaoxiao, why are you bringing me this again? Brother Hao, I see that you have someone coming in and out every night here. Zhou Xiaoxiao said with a slight blush on her face, leaving Chen Hao somewhat speechless. Indeed, Chen Hao had been busy creating, but he had also made time for Wu Mi and Anna to come over several times in rotation. How did Zhou Xiaoxiao know about this? It seems this little girl has been sneaking peeks at his side. Could it be that she has some sort of bull demon attribute? Thus, Chen Hao helplessly ruffled Zhou Xiaoxiao's hair, making it look like a messy ball of fluff, which slightly relieved his frustration. Alright, I haven't even finished the ones you gave me last time. Oh, Zhou Xiaoxiao let out a soft hum, her cheeks quickly flushing with 2 patches of red. She had only given Brother Hao 5 test needles. If he hadn't used them all, that meant he hadn't found too many. But Chen Hao expressed, though the quantity I found isn't large, my usage frequency for each person is high. However, Chen Hao had no time to waste on this topic. So he patted Zhou Xiaoxiao's head and said, by the way, I'm going to be away for a few days, and during my absence I need to assign you a task. Is it to help Brother Hao watch the house? No, it's to spend money. My. I'm giving you some pocket money, you must spend it all by the time I return, or I'll eat you. In a strong, domineering CEO tone, while it might sound greasy coming from someone else, it suits Chen Hao perfectly. Zhou Xiaoxiao just cutely nodded. She thought that since Brother Hao had only won 5 million, giving herself 5 or 6,000 as pocket money would be about right. Wouldn't it be impossible to spend 5 or 6,000 in just a few days? How could she underestimate a girl's spending capability? Unexpectedly, as soon as Chen Hao's message arrived, Alipay has credited 500 yuan. Zhou Xiaoxiao was completely stunned. How much? Looking again, 500,000. Not a cent less. Zhou Xiaoxiao was frozen in place for several seconds. Only after Chen Hao had walked away with his bodyguards did she gradually regain her senses, confirming that Chen Hao had indeed transferred 500,000 to her. 500,000. That's a huge sum of money. Why? Why did Brother Hao transfer so much money to me? Why? Zhou Xiaoxiao pondered for a long time, but couldn't figure out the answer. Why did Chen Hao with only 5 million suddenly give her 500,000 as pocket money? Could it be that it implies her value in Brother Hao's heart is about 1/10 of his whole heart? But this question was easy for Chen Hao to answer. Because the apocalypse is coming. If you don't spend the money now, you won't be able to spend it later. Moreover, as the sister of his good brother, Chen Hao naturally had to take extra care of her. You guys can freely move around after dropping me off at the club. Just gather whenever I call for you. During the free activity period, I will still pay you your wages. Thank you, President Chen. The group of bodyguards in black remained very professional, never asking what Chen Hao was going to do, just following his orders. At the vast yacht club, Zhang Meili, the department head, had been glancing around Chen Hao's workstation, not to scold anyone this time, but to wait for Chen Hao to arrive. Hey, why hasn't President Chen arrived yet? Beside her, Zhao Dong, who secretly had a crush on Zhang Meili and had more of a bull-headed personality, became anxious as he saw Zhang Meili worry. Right? Why hasn't President Chen come yet? Should I call him to hurry? That would be bad, but you can go ahead, just don't say I asked you to call. Zhang Meili said with a casual tone. Zhao Dong immediately picked up his phone and called Chen Hao. Sorry, your call has been blocked by the other party. Please do not dial again. Thank you for your cooperation. Hearing this, Zhang Meili was speechless. She had thought that Zhao Dong, this sycophant, might be of some use, but he couldn't even manage to make a phone call. Zhao Dong felt awkward, but he wasn't going to give up. Sister Meili, wait for me a moment, I'll borrow someone else's phone. Go ahead. Zhang Meili rolled her eyes disdainfully. But Zhao Dong happily ran off to find colleagues to borrow. Speechless. Zhang Meili rolled her eyes again, just as she was about to elegantly walk back to the office, when she caught a glimpse of Chen Hao approaching. Immediately, Zhang Meili changed her expression. From disdain to flattery, like a clingy little dog, she hopped over to Chen Hao's side. President Chen, you've arrived. Yes, I came to pick up the key. Where is it? Chen Hao did not want to say any unnecessary words. Yet Zhang Meili, fully aware of Chen Hao's attitude, still wanted to shamelessly say a few more words. After all, with a bit of thick skin, there's a 50 chance of winning over Chen Hao. But being thin-skinned would leave her with nothing. So Zhang Meili playfully said, President Chen, why are you in such a... The key is with me. I'll go get it for you right away. President Chen, actually, I wanted to say that I recently bought a few new swimsuits, and just need a place to take pictures. Zhang Meili said with a flirtatious demeanor, exchanging a few words that left much to the imagination. What's the difference between wearing a swimsuit and underwear? There is. One is a more modest display of the body while the other is a blatant exhibition. So why do rich second-generation kids love to throw swimsuit parties on yachts? Of course, it's because they can pick out girls with good figures and then enjoy themselves. However, the effectiveness of subtext depends on who employs it. If a true goddess said this to Chen Hao, he would certainly not refuse. But Yu Zhang Meili, a common tramp lacking both elegance and charm, dare to play such games with Chen Hao. Do you take him for a dog that will bite any piece of meat? Thus Chen Hao erupted in anger. Are you not disgusted by yourself? Wah! What? Zhang Meili didn't catch it. Actually, she couldn't believe it. She never expected Chen Hao to rebuke her in front of the entire office. In her mind, as his former superior, she believed he owed her some respect. But since Zhang Meili refused to believe it, Chen Hao made sure she did. Do you think I've eaten so much pork that I crave filth? Don't you know your own worth? Crawling out every day to disgust others. A common tramp that anyone can have, yet you fancy yourself a paragon of purity. Chen Hao's words struck home, hitting the vital point. Zhang Meili's face turned pale, and she trembled violently with agitation. Often this is how it goes. Zhang Meili acts like a tramp, and everyone knows it, but as long as no one says it aloud, it's as if it never happened. She was still a good woman. But now exposed by Chen Hao before the entire office, she no longer felt like one. With a single sentence, Chen Hao transformed her from a good woman into a wanton tramp. Thus she hated him. She wished she could tear Chen Hao apart. Chen Hao, how can you say that? Zhang Meili glared at him, her manicured nails digging deep into her palms. Chen Hao sneered disdainfully. How can I say that? Because you disgust me. You. Zhang Meili's eyes blazed with fury. For Chen Hao implied that she had brought this upon herself, that she had invited her own humiliation by revealing her true nature. This was nothing short of psychological torment. Zhang Meili's face twisted in rage, and she yearned to slap Chen Hao hard across the face. Yet she held back, because now she dared not offend Chen Hao. So she could only storm away in fury, her heavy footsteps voicing her discontent and anger. But Chen Hao would not indulge her. Hold on. What else do you want? Zhang Meili roared angrily. She had to assert dominance to salvage a shred of dignity. Chen Hao said calmly, my key, where is it? At these words, Zhang Meili could only slink back, handing the key to Chen Hao with both hands in a show of deference. This abject subservience infuriated Zhang Meili so much that she bit her lip until it bled. But she had no choice, for the key was the exclusive activator for Noah's Ark, and only one existed in the entire company. So Chen Hao demanded it, and Zhang Meili had no choice but to comply. Yet the humiliation of being tamed by a single command made her feel as if everyone was laughing at her. Oh, thought she had some backbone. But one word from him, and she comes crawling back. Why else would she be a tramp? Isn't it just that her mouth says no, but her body says yes? Her temper was all for show. Ha ha ha. Even though no one in the office laughed at her or said a word against her, Zhang Meili frantically imagined everyone's thoughts. For when guilt consumes you, even a tear feels like mockery. For Zhang Meili, who valued face above all this, was more agonizing than 1,000 cuts. Chen Hao, I will have my revenge. I will have my revenge. Yet no matter how many times she screamed inwardly, she could only watch helplessly as Chen Hao strode away with the key. She despised him, but could do nothing to stop him. Disheartened, Zhang Meili thought, forget it, what can I do? He'll just have to accept my misfortune. Sister Meili, I have a plan. An unexpected voice startled Zhang Meili. Xiao Dong, what are you doing here? Sister Meili, I've been standing here for ages listening to you talk about wanting to kill Chen Hao. Did I say that? Zhang Meili felt a twinge of embarrassment. She hadn't realized her rage at Chen Hao had become so consuming that she voiced it unconsciously. But Xiao Dong said firmly, Sister, I'm not joking. I really have a way to take down Chen Hao and no one will ever know. Really? Zhang Meili eyed Xiao Dong skeptically. She knew him only as a loyal lapdog with no notable, but Xiao Dong just chuckled and leaned in to whisper something in her ear. Zhang Meili's eyes lit up instantly. Xiao Zhao, if this works out, I won't forget you. Sister, as long as you're happy, that's enough for me. Xiao Dong said shyly, even blushing a little. Meanwhile, at the Tiandu city dock not far from the Hao and Yacht, Chen Hao finally laid eyes on Noah's Ark. A silver gray vessel 99 meters long with 6 decks, and its name inscribed in 3 languages on both sides, Noah's Ark. What a beautiful treasure. Chen Hao smiled and pulled out the key to activate Noah's Ark. Not a physical key, but a control tablet resembling a smartphone. After all, Musk was a tech fanatic, so his super yacht was undoubtedly the most advanced technological vessel in the world. Even with only the owner aboard, the key alone could navigate the seas. Chen Hao lightly pressed the start button on the key and a pleasant voice emanated from it. Facial recognition, temporary user identified. Chen Hao, level 3 authority will be activated. Smart butler, Xiao Ma at your service. Interesting. Chen Hao watched as upon activation the entire Noah's Ark glowed with layers of pale white light, as if a divine artifact had been awakened. Simultaneously, a boarding deck extended from the bottom. Quite advanced, but only level 3 authority. That's a bit annoying. No matter how crazy Musk was, he couldn't just hand over a yacht to China without safeguards. The failsafe was that Noah's Ark's management authority was divided into 3 levels. Musk held level 1A, the yacht company held level 2O, and renters could only use level 3. Among these, level 1 was the highest, level 3 the weakest, and higher level commands would automatically override those of lower levels. Thus, even if a renter tried to steal the yacht, the company could issue a single command to bring it obediently back to Tiandu City. And this was precisely the method Zhao Dong would use to exact revenge on Chen Hao. For Zhao Dong had accidentally obtained level 2 authority over the yacht. Oh, it actually lets me go straight to the top 3 decks. How intriguing. A faint smile curled at the corners of Chen Hao's mouth. He paid it no mind, but he knew. This Musk must have hidden plenty of valuable treasures in the lower 3 decks, keeping them out of sight. But no matter. As long as he could replicate them, these secrets would be effortlessly uncovered. Thus Chen Hao first ascended to the top 3 decks. He arrived at the first deck, the middle deck of the entire yacht, and also the one with the largest usable area. It stretched 109 meters in length with a maximum width of 18 meters. Primarily designed for daily living, it was equipped with a living room, dining room, kitchen, fitness center, and much more. At the stern, there was even a hot spring pool. The pool spanned over 30 square meters. Not bad at all. I could host a swimsuit party here someday. Chen Hao remarked with satisfaction, stroking his chin before heading toward the second deck. The second deck primarily served as the captain's control room. On this level, there was a fully intelligent captain's cabin and numerous independent server rooms. Some of these server rooms were used for data storage, others for signal transmission, and some could even connect directly to Musk's Starlink. The so-called Starlink referred to the thousands of artificial satellites Musk had launched into space. These satellites formed a ring around the Earth's surface, enabling real-time surveillance of every corner of the globe and transmitting signals to any location. But it's easy to imagine that the connection rights to Starlink are solely in Musk's hands. Knowing that full functionality wouldn't be granted to him, Chen Hao briefly browsed the area before moving on to the third deck. The third deck was a semi-open structure. The front third housed an independent workshop, while the rear featured an open-air terrace and a helipad. The terrace was perfect for barbecues, sunbathing, or stargazing. Thus, the third deck was the simplest in design among the top 3. However, the independent workshop caught Chen Hao's attention. What's on top of that workshop? Chen Hao noticed the workshop ceiling. It was round and made of some special transparent material resembling a high-precision instrument. That guy Musk is known as a tech fanatic, so his yacht must be packed with hidden black tech. It seems he'll only uncover these secrets after obtaining the highest level of authorization. So Chen Hao didn't linger on the third deck. Instead, he descended to the captain's cabin on the second deck. Hello, I'm your smart butler Xiao Ma. How may I assist you? Can he really eat that much? What kind of stomach does it take to hold so much food? The smart butler Xiao Ma immediately generated a route on the electronic screen pointing straight to VK Island. Since the Noah's Ark utilized special fuel, it could easily reach a speed of 100 nautical miles per hour, a top-tier cruising speed among all yachts. At this speed, it'll only take a day to reach VK Island. Then I can start replicating this Noah cruise. Glancing at the estimated time on the screen, Chen Hao smiled faintly. He then sat in the captain's cabin using the yacht's internal surveillance system to observe the interior conditions. A nearby assistant robot, a cylindrical model designed to deliver items to its owner equipped with internal storage space, whirred over and proactively asked Chen Hao what beverages he desired. Give me a cocktail. Certainly, you'll fetch it from the dining room right away. I am Assistant Unit 01. With that, Assistant Unit 01 whirred off toward the dining room. The cruise ship had elevators connecting all floors from the third above deck to the third below, so the wheeled robot had no trouble navigating stairs. Quite amusing, though the name leaves something to be desired. Once I replicate the cruise ship, I'll copy a few robots to play with. Chen Hao remarked with interest, stroking his chin. Meanwhile, at the vast yacht club, a figure quietly slipped into the boss office. It was Zhao Dong, who intended to exact revenge on Chen Hao for Zhang Meili. Chen Hao, don't blame me. You crossed Sister Meili and made her so heartbroken, so I have no choice but to take you out. A sinister grin spread across Zhao Dong's lips. After all, he was a professional simp, willing to do anything to make Zhang Meili happy. As for how Zhao Dong knew the second-level authorization password for the Noah's Ark, he had secretly observed once before when the boss was setting up a third-level permission for a client. Yes, the higher the security level, the more primitive the method, which was manual input. Zhao Dong had happened to bring documents to the boss and caught a glimpse of the second-level password. So Zhao Dong had told Zhang Meili, after Chen Hao set sail, he'll sneak into the boss office and use a higher-level permission to command the ship's robots to drive him overboard. Then with the second-level permission, he'll delete all the commands and surveillance records. No one will ever know, and if anyone investigates, they'll find nothing, unless they track down Musk and get his first-level permission. Hearing Zhao Dong's detailed plan, Zhang Meili couldn't help but see him in a new light. But what Zhao Dong didn't tell Zhang Meili was, don't worry, even if it fails they'll only trace it back to me, not you, Sister Meili. You'll always be safe. Every time he thought of this inner monologue, Zhao Dong felt incredibly cool. A real man was willing to sacrifice himself. Alright, I need to hurry. If the boss catches me, I won't be able to stay by Sister Meili's side and protect her properly. But as Zhao Dong's hands touched the keyboard, he froze. The computer displayed that the Noah's Ark was currently off. There was only one way to take the Noah's Ark offline if the ship had been destroyed, down to the last scrap. Wait, where's the ship? Zhao Dong's eyes widened in an instant. At the same moment, the boss office door burst open with a bang. The boss stormed in with a group of security guards. After checking the computer, the boss erupted into a hysterical roar. Zhao Dong, you bastard. What have you done? Where's my ship? Where is it? Wait, I haven't done anything yet. This isn't my doing. Zhao Dong felt like vomiting blood. If he had actually tampered with it, had accept the blame, but this truly was. But the boss wouldn't listen. Explain it to the judge. Damn it. You're going to jail for sure. No, I can't go to jail. I can't go to jail. I still have someone to protect. Someone important. Screw you. Drag him away. The boss cursed, furiously pacing around the computer in desperation, unsure how to contact Musk. And even if he did, what could he say? Would he have to say, Dear Musk, your ship blew up? But the boss had no idea that at that very moment the Noah's Ark had already been absorbed into Chen Hao's creation space. Noah's Ark. What a colossal behemoth. Chen Hao gazed at the Noah's Ark within the creation space, marveling. Its hull stretched 109 meters, spanning 6 decks from top to bottom, with a maximum width of 18 meters, making it a veritable mobile fortress. But the boss wouldn't listen. Explain it to the judge. Damn it. You're going to jail for sure. No, I can't go to jail. Upward. It was utterly breathtaking. A sight that made you feel your own insignificance. But this colossal vessel is about to be mine. A faint smile curled at the corner of Chen Hao's mouth as he began to replicate the Noah's Ark. Moreover, he had no fear of anyone disturbing him. For Chen Hao had deliberately chosen VK Island as the replication site. VK Island was an uninhabited isle near China's maritime waters, blessed with a favorable climate boasting sandy beaches, mountains, and forests. Chen Hao had only learned of this place after a long stint at the yacht company. Ordinary people neither knew of it, nor could they reach it on their own. It's a pity that after the deluge, only half a mountain will remain of this place, Chen Hao remarked with a tinge of. Once the torrential rains arrived, the sea level would rise rapidly, submerging all these islands. Thus, even the most beautiful landscapes were counting down to their demise. After a brief moment of sorrow, Chen Hao composed himself and continued replicating the Noah's Ark with full effort, for time waited for no one. Moreover, the disappearance of the Noah's Ark will eventually be discovered. When that happens, search parties will surely be dispatched to find this place, so I must hurry. But little did Chen Hao know that due to the Zhao Dong incident, the outside world was frantically searching for him. After all, this was a luxury yacht worth $5 billion. And its actual owner was none other than Musk, a world-renowned entrepreneur. A mishandling of this matter could leave an international stain on their reputation. Thus, a massive search operation had quietly begun. However, Chen Hao remained oblivious to this, fully immersed in replicating the Noah's Ark. After extensive training, Chen Hao's ability to replicate objects had advanced by leaps and bounds. For instance, he could pause mid-replication and then resume. Or he could divert a sliver of his focus during replication to drink water, or use the restroom, achieving a state of multitasking. Most impressively, he could even replicate while asleep, though the replication speed slowed to prevent him from being drained in his slumber. And so this simple process continued unabated for 7 full days. After 7 days, a complete Noah's Ark yacht materialized within Chen Hao's creation space, with full access privileges. Not merely third-tier access, because during replication Chen Hao had chosen to modify the Noah's Ark, resetting its internal systems to their initial state. Thus, Chen Hao became its sole master. If I had replicated a third-tier Noah's Ark, Musk would wake up laughing in his dreams. But how could I let anyone freeload? After a light-hearted jest, Chen Hao released the new Noah's Ark, which crashed onto the sea surface with a thunderous splash. The activation method remained the key. Proceed with Captain Identity input. Do you confirm the current user as Captain? Confirmed. Captain Identity confirmed. Would you like to proceed with personalized customization? Personalized customization. Enter. Chen Hao saw no reason to refuse. After all, every man harbors a desire for possession. How would you like your intelligent butler to address you? Very well, master. What gender would you prefer your intelligent butler to be? Female. What type of woman would you like your intelligent butler to embody? A sweet girl type. B cold and elegant type. C mature woman type. D gentle aunt type. Sweet girl voice. Very well, master. Set to sweet girl type. Please give your intelligent butler a name. Let's call her. Understood. Silly girl is about to serve you, please wait. After 3 seconds of silence, the system setup completed, and a sweet youthful voice echoed in Chen Hao's ears. "Hello, master. Your intelligent butler silly girl is at your service. How may I assist you?" The voice was melodious and captivating, stirring a pleasant sensation. It had to be said that Musk Fellow had secretly kept this feature. Indeed, men worldwide understood how to make a woman's voice most enchanting. Chen Hao let out a sly chuckle. "I want to know what's on the lower levels from B1 to B3. Certainly, I'll introduce them right away." As Silly Girl's voice faded, the key tablet in Chen Hao's hand projected a floor plan detailing all 3 lower decks of the yacht. B1 was a massive filtration chamber, capable of purifying both air and seawater. Even in a post-apocalyptic world, it could continuously supply the yacht with fresh air and safe drinking water. Impressive. That Musk guy, a true tech fanatic, really designed this Noah's Ark with an apocalypse scenario, and Chen Hao couldn't help but applaud Musk, for he had indeed hit the mark on the challenge of the world's end. B2 was a technology layer, housing all the yacht's propulsion systems. It was only now that Chen Hao learned the yacht not only ran on hybrid fuel, but also had solar charging panels concealed beneath its surface. Interesting, not a single deck is superfluous. So what's on B3? Curiosity piqued. Chen Hao hurriedly examined the 3rd layer. B3 turned out to be an escape layer, equipped with 1 emergency speedboat, 2 sea motorcycles, and even 2 emergency escape capsules, each measuring 4 meters by 1.6 meters. These capsules could eject 100 meters in an instant, allowing one to flee danger immediately. Packed with cutting-edge tech. No wonder the lower 3 decks were always off-limits to others. If those unaware of the impending apocalypse had entered, they would have merely laughed at Musk for being a madman. A grin spread across Chen Hao's face as he felt immense satisfaction with this Noah's Ark. With this divine vessel, even if global flood struck, he could maintain an exceptionally high quality of life. Speaking of which, there's one place I haven't checked yet, the workshop on the 3rd floor. Chen Hao recalled that workshop on the 3rd floor atop, which sat a round peculiar object, some unknown black technology perhaps. "Silly girl, let me see what that thing is on the 3rd floor roof." Chen Hao said boisterously to his intelligent housekeeper silly girl. That round object was clearly no ordinary item, so a flicker of curiosity stirred within him. Silly girl promptly replied, "Master, that is the lookout scope mounted on Noah's Ark. The Celestial Eye." "The Celestial Eye?" "Yes, with it you can observe everything within 100 kilometers. In times of danger you can activate defense mode using the Celestial Eye to survey your surroundings without relying on your own sight. Noah's Ark even has a defense mode. Turn it on, and let me see." "Of course, master. Please proceed to the captain's quarters on the 2nd floor, and I will demonstrate it for you." As she spoke, Silly Girl summoned an internal transport vehicle, a small wheelchair-like 4-wheeled cart, which glided to a stop before Chen Hao. Chen Hao seated himself with ease, and the cart automatically ferried him into the elevator, ascending directly to the captain's quarters. "Now I will demonstrate defense mode." As her voice faded, every window on Noah's Ark was shielded by a layer of sturdy armor plating, though the glass itself was already super reinforced, capable of withstanding bullets. Yet compared to this armor, the glass was still far inferior. Once the armor had covered all the windows, a holographic projection enveloped the entire captain's quarters, displaying real-time imagery of the outside world above, below, left, and right of Chen Hao, making him feel as though he were outdoors rather than inside a yacht's command center. Awesome. Holographic projection. Real-time imagery. This is what a tech fanatic should be. Chen Hao couldn't help but burst into laughter. This defense mode was undoubtedly a special development by Musk for extreme scenarios, and it was exactly to Chen Hao's liking. But just then Noah's Ark's intelligence system issued an unsolicited warning. "Attention! Attention! A large number of vessels are approaching from the southeast 70 kilometers away. Estimated arrival at Noah's Ark's current location in 2 hours. Would you like to view them now?" My. Chen Hao was slightly surprised, but he nodded and uttered a soft sound. The image instantly zoomed in. Relying on the Celestial Eye's powerful telescopic ability, it transmitted the scene from 70 kilometers away directly before Chen Hao's eyes, projecting it onto the captain's quarters holographic display. Chen Hao saw the owner of the vast Ocean Yacht Club accompanied by a group of maritime police, and even armed forces rapidly advancing in his direction. "It's them. Well, about time, I suppose." Chen Hao chuckled to himself. Though he knew nothing of Zhao Dong's affairs, Noah's Ark was too significant to vanish unnoticed. It was only a matter of time before someone came looking. So he immediately made preparations. First he stowed away the new Noah's Ark, then brought out the old one, and finally, he pretended to fish by the seaside, acting as if nothing had happened. An hour after Chen Hao completed these preparations, the owner and a large contingent of armed forces suddenly appeared. Chen Hao feigned curiosity and stood up. "What's going on here?" "Name." The armed forces instantly aimed their guns at Chen Hao. The dark muzzles were loaded with live ammunition. The owner quickly intervened to smooth things over. Misunderstanding. He's one of us." He's the renter Chen Hao. Verify his identity. The armed forces did not relent. Even after confirming Chen Hao's identity, they kept their guns trained on him and questioned him directly. Has anything strange happened in the past few days? Answer truthfully. No, ever since I arrived I've been camping, fishing when I have free time, or taking walks nearby. Is that all? That's all. Hearing Chen Hao's response, the young officer found it hard to believe, but their mission was to determine what had happened to Noah's Ark. Since the yacht was perfectly intact, that was the most satisfactory outcome. Of course, mobilizing such a large force for a yacht that was completely fine was somewhat embarrassing. So the young officer specifically spoke with Chen Hao, hoping he would keep the matter confidential. Chen Hao too had no desire for this to become public. At least for now, he didn't want anyone suspecting he had the means to make a 109-meter yacht disappear. Thus both parties happily agreed to let the matter fade into oblivion. A classic case of turning a big issue into a small one and a small one into nothing. Afterward, Chen Hao set off to return to Tiandu City. This was partly at the military's behest, as they had no wish to search for Noah's Ark again. So the company was urged to recall the yacht ahead of schedule. Chen Hao expressed understanding and respect. If I were a soldier guarding the border, I wouldn't want to leave my post to search for a rich man's yacht traveling so far and wasting time. And that Zhao Dong, you've really caused me trouble. Upon learning of Zhao Dong's deeds, Chen Hao gnashed his teeth in fury, longing to land a punch on that kid's face. He had almost been exposed because of him, but there was no helping it. Rumor had it the kid had been secretly tried and locked away, likely to serve at least 2.5 years. But that kid probably never dreamed that once he went in, the world would soon end. So Chen Hao simply put Zhao Dong, counting the days 18 had passed since his rebirth, leaving less than 2 weeks until the apocalypse. For the remaining time, he'll spend it all on fun. I've still got over 10 million in my account. No point letting it. A smile curling at the corner of his mouth, Chen Hao called his 18 black-clad bodyguards and instructed them to come to him. Then he called Zhou Xiao. Brother Hao, you're back. Xiao, before I left I told you to spend all the pocket money I gave you. If you didn't, I'd have to teach you a lesson. So how much is left? Chen Hao teased. He knew that with Zhou Xiao's frugal nature, she probably hadn't even spent half of it. I haven't spent any of it. Then what did you do with it? I saved it all. Zhou Xiao said with it. I was afraid you gave it to me by mistake, Brother Hao, so I kept it aside waiting for you to come back, so I could return the money. It was a mistake, all right. See, I should have given you 5 million instead, so you could take the money and run off into the night. Not a single cent spent. Were you reborn as Scrooge? Enough. Where are you now? Come find me. I haven't finished work yet. Now immediately, right this instant. Get over to Brother Hao. Trust me, skipping work is better for you. Then I'll head over now. Good. And take a taxi, no buses. Chen Hao said, helplessly urging her to come quickly. But he understood that Zhou Xiao had endured hardship for so long that she couldn't easily adapt to a life of leisure and indulgence. But Xiao, don't worry. As long as I'm here, I'll make sure you live a happy life. This is the last thing I can do. Thinking of his good brother, a pang of sorrow struck Chen Hao's heart. That was a brother who had shared a bowl of instant noodles and slept under the same blanket. Little Ting, rest assured, he'll take good care of Xiao. So as soon as Zhou Xiao arrived, Chen Hao took her to the most luxurious mall in Tiandu City. Along the way, he bought everything he saw, whether she wanted it or not, all premium brand items. The sight made the beautiful saleswomen drool with envy, each one flaunting herself before Chen Hao, but he ignored them all. Because that was Chen Hao's way. He only gave to those worth his effort. As for others, well, sorry. If he could freeload, he wouldn't spend a single cent. And so they went eating, drinking, and playing their way through the day. The 18 bodyguards carried over 100 bags and packages back home, making every woman in the neighborhood green with envy. In an instant, Chen Hao's friend requests surged by dozens. Who knew which lonely housewives in the community were sending them? As for the Lin family, they watched with bleeding hearts. That's our money. Our money. Damn it. Why hasn't the assassin come yet? So they could only watch Chen Hao continue his revelry, powerless to stop him. Thus Chen Hao's days became simple and joyful. By day he took Zhou Xiao on wild adventures, malls, amusement parks, snack streets. Anywhere money could buy happiness they went. By night it was Anna and Yangmi taking turns, and along the way he even seduced a few neighbors' young wives, experiencing the thrill of a certain historical scoundrel. And so after more than 10 days had passed, the final night before the apocalypse finally arrived. Brother Hao, why are you calling me? You must come over for dinner tonight. Zhou Xiao said, clad in a stunning black dress. This little lady, already possessing a face and figure that scored above 90, was now an absolute stunner. Dressed in the perfect attire, her allure doubled. She was the dream lover every man desired. Why so many questions? Do I need an excuse to ask you to dinner now? It's not that. Zhou Xiao twirled a lock of her hair, spinning it gently, like a maiden's thoughts, endlessly turning, hoping someone would make them stop. Alright, I never let you drink when we went out before, but today's an exception. Try this romanicani worth $500,000 per bottle. As Chen Hao spoke, he poured half a glass of red wine for Zhou Xiaoxiao. The moment she saw him pouring, a rosy blush crept onto her cheeks. They say a woman must be drunk for a man to seize his chance. When a man pours wine for a woman, it's never sincerity. It's all a cunning scheme. Yet at this moment Zhou Xiaoxiao felt not resistance, but eager anticipation. So Zhou Xiaoxiao cheerfully lifted her glass and took a tiny sip. The wine was a bit astringent, but her heart was truly sweet. Thus Zhou Xiaoxiao downed it in one gulp. Chen Hao was taken aback. Hey, why drink so fast? Drinking on an empty stomach will make you dizzy. Brother Hao, I'm fine. Actually, I've always wanted to drink with you. Zhou Xiaoxiao said, her face flushed, whether from the wine or the intoxicating ambiguity. Drinking's no big deal. If you like drinking with me, I'll join you whenever I'm free. Brother Hao, then it's a deal. Before Zhou Xiaoxiao could finish, she thumped onto the dining table. Chen Hao was speechless. With that tolerance you talk about drinking, I was worried you could hold your liquor and thought about slipping something into your glass. I was overthinking. Chen Hao shook his head, helplessly stood up, and carried Zhou Xiaoxiao to the bed. Zhou Xiaoxiao's face was crimson. Though her consciousness was hazy, she had mentally prepared herself before slipping into oblivion. So Chen Hao struggled mightily to extricate himself from her bear hug. This little lady, she's incredibly strong, and her figure is absolutely stunning. Being trapped in a bear hug, it was impossible to avoid some bodily contact. Zhou Xiaoxiao murmured softly from the bed. Brother Hao, don't go. Xiaoxiao only has you left as. After a few murmurs, she curled up pitifully like a child lacking security, assuming the fetal position, as if yearning for the safety of the womb. Chen Hao leaned in with affection and whispered in her ear. Don't worry, Brother Hao will always protect you. I swear. Unable to resist, he gently kissed her on the cheek. Only then did Zhou Xiaoxiao's body relax, slightly, the tension easing. Now for the final preparations. Chen Hao picked up his phone and issued the last command to all the bodyguards downstairs. Dismissed. Everyone go home. Take triple pay and bonuses and spend the night with your wives and children. Whether the bodyguards obeyed or not, Chen Hao couldn't care less. This was his final act of kindness, and he had done his utmost. After the bodyguards left, he quietly slipped into the 31st floor and took some necessary protective measures. He scattered the large stones brought from VK Island all over the 31st floor room. If anyone dared to dig through the floor, the 1,000-pound boulders would teach them a lesson. With everything done, Chen Hao returned to the 32nd floor, calmly cut the surveillance feed in the stairwell and blocked the elevator doors with 2 tundra-high boulders. The toughest defense uses the simplest materials. Chen Hao clapped his hands in satisfaction. Breaking these stones would require more than a hammer, at least explosives, and a hefty dose at that. After finishing, Chen Hao went back home, lay down on the rocking chair by the French window, and quietly gazed at the dazzling city lights outside. So peaceful. Sometimes life after rebirth feels like a dream. Bullying whoever I want, so exhilarating it's almost unreal. Chen Hao rocked gently in the chair, feeling like a lone leaf adrift in the wind, lonely, lost without direction or security. After all, his past life was so miserable. Chen Hao couldn't help but wonder, was there really such a thing as an underdog's rise? Perhaps it was just a dream of a guy named Chen Hao right before his death. If that's the case, the more beautiful this dream, the crueler it is to me. Chen Hao chuckled bitterly, then picked up a glass of wine and raised it toward a strange blue shadow in the sky. That blue shadow resembled a legendary comet, a round head trailing a long tail. Even from a great distance, it appeared as large as a basketball court, visible to the naked eye. Then it hurtled toward the other side of the Earth. That was the meteorite striking Earth, bringing a water droplet the size of the moon, forever altering the planet's ecosystem. It's begun. Nothing has changed. The world is ending. Chen Hao smiled faintly as he watched the pitch-black sky grow even darker, then rain began to pour down in torrents. People outside couldn't help but curse. What the hell is this weather? Raining in the middle of the night. Probably a passing shower. It'll stop soon. Can't even enjoy ourselves, damn it. Wait a bit, it'll be fine. But these people had no idea of the severity. The rain was caused by the meteorite's intense friction with the atmosphere, vaporizing vast amounts of moisture. And that vapor quickly blanketed the world, forming the first unending downpour. Yes, this was merely the first rainstorm. Yet people hadn't realized this, thinking it was just an ordinary storm, until the rain cut off traffic. Flooded buildings. Toxic substances were detected. But none of this concerned Chen Hao, for he had fully prepared for the apocalypse. Even as doom arrived, he could survive well. So Chen Hao fell asleep peacefully amidst the crackling downpour. Why hasn't this rain stopped yet? It's been pouring for a whole day and night. In the community group chat, someone had already begun to complain about the relentless downpour. After falling all night, the raindrops showed no sign of diminishing. Instead, they grew even larger. They were now as thick as an adult's thumb. But upon seeing this message, Chen Hao merely let out a contented yawn, thinking to himself that this was nothing at all. This was only the first day, the first storm, and it would persist for over 3 months. Yet within the community group, many were already growing anxious. With rain this heavy, how can anyone go to school? My daughter has an exam today. What if she doesn't do well? Your exam is trivial. I have a client meeting at the company today. If I stand them up, they'll get fired. Does anyone have inside information? I feel like this rain is unnatural. What's unnatural about it? I don't know, just a strange feeling. I think it's related to that anomaly we saw last night. Mentioning last night's anomaly, many recalled it. After all, a flash of blue light as large as a basketball court streaked across the sky. Unless one had their eyes glued to their phone, they would have noticed something. So when someone brought it up now, it wasn't surprising, or instead it made some feel enlightened, and they began to pontificate in the group. That anomaly last night was definitely a UFO. But it wasn't an alien spacecraft. It was the latest weapon from the Americans. So this storm is also some trick from the Americans. Absolutely. They must have invented some climate-altering weapon and are using us Chinese as guinea pigs. Makes sense. I've always thought this rain felt off. Exactly. In fact, the Americans have done much more, but you ordinary folks just don't know about it. Really? Tell us some. It's not something I can just talk about, you know. And even if I did, you wouldn't understand, so it's not about whether I say it or not. Oh, I see. Understood. Seeing a know-it-all emerge in the group, Chen Hao didn't indulge him. He directly shared the latest news in the chat. Breaking news: due to a peculiar meteorite striking the Pacific Ocean, heavy rains have been triggered across many parts of the world. Experts speculate that the meteorite was composed largely of freshwater, so upon entering the Pacific, it generated massive updrafts and water vapor, leading to global storms. In an instant, the know-it-all fell silent, and the entire group went quiet. Yet everyone seemed to hear a resound striking the know-it-all's face. But this brief silence from the slap didn't last long either, as someone quickly sent a message. Property manager Brother Wong. What's going on? I got a danger alert for my car. It's flooded. Damn, I got one too. The water's already up to the chassis. Same here. Me too. Property manager. The car owners in the group grew frantic. Everyone knew that water was a car's worst enemy. Once submerged, forget repairs, even selling it by weight at a used car lot would be impossible. So they all frantically the property management. But the management was as silent as the dead, not respond. Everyone was used to this outcome. After all, these property managers were like parasites sucking blood from the owners. They were only proactive when collecting fees, and otherwise as good as dead. But usually they could let it slide. Today, however, involved cars worth hundreds of thousands, so no one was inclined to tolerate the management. Property manager Brother Wong. Give us an explanation. Yes, an explanation today. Property manager Brother Wong. Hurry up. Property manager Brother Wong. A barrage of urgent messages finally yielded some effect. What explanation? If you can't park in the underground garage, just drive your cars out. You're all crazy, nagging and pestering. Nag your mother's head. Everyone was speechless. They wanted the management to check the underground parking lot for drainage blockages, not to be told to move their cars out. So their property fees were going to waste. Someone immediately cursed. You bunch of good-for-nothings. We pay you to raise these ingrates. Watch your language. How dare you speak like that? Property manager Brother Wong shot back, his tone aggressive. How dare we speak? We pay you monthly fees to serve us, not to interrogate us. Exactly. You're here to serve the owners. Ridiculous, serve you. Let me tell you. We're here to that's why it's called property management fee. It means we manage you owners. And those who spoke up just now, I know your floor and unit numbers, so watch your words. His arrogant tone infuriated everyone. Yet they felt powerless against him. As he said, he knew each person's address. A little sabotage like cutting off water or electricity would make but while others might tolerate these corrupt managers, Chen Hao would not. So he casually typed a message. Quite the airs you property managers put on. Let me make this clear. I'm not paying this month's fee. Seeing someone willing to take the lead, others chimed in. After all, if the management wanted to cause trouble, they could target Chen Hao, the instigator. I'm not paying this month either. Or next month. Right, unless you reform, we won't pay any more fees. No more paying. No more. Replace the management. Replace them. Messages rained down like hailstones, bombarding the group. In his dorm, Wang Niu, who was drinking, grew furious. Damn it. He knew that being a property manager wasn't for ordinary folks. They were just thugs in a property shell. Take Wang Niu himself. Over a decade ago, he was a bouncer in a bar. Head smashed countless heads with beer. Now, after cleaning up his act, he had transformed into a swaggering property manager. So when Wang Niu saw the chaos in the group, he wasn't afraid. Grab the ringleader, give him a beating, and the rest would fall in line. That was human nature. Everyone was there were few true heroes. Let me see who's leading the trouble. Building 4, Unit 32, A1 Chen Hao's phone vibrated and a friend request popped up from Wang Niu, known as property manager Brother Wong. As for what he wanted to discuss, It was obvious it had to do with the group chat. Yet Chen Hao wouldn't refuse. After all, he had to cherish these playmates, for they would all be dead soon. So Chen Hao generously accepted the friend request. The very next second, Wang Yo sent a long string of voice messages. Listen, brother, don't cause any trouble. Apologize publicly in the group right now, or else I know where you live and where you work. The threat was naked and undisguised. Unfortunately, Chen Hao never accepted threats, so he replied with a single word. Scram. Wang Yo's eyes immediately turned red. Damn it. Don't be so ungrateful. Push me too far, and he'll go up there and stab you twice. Come on then. Fuck. Wang Yo slammed the table and barked at the security guards at the bar. Grab your gear. Damn it. Let's teach these bastards a lesson today and show them who's boss in this neighborhood. Let's go. A group of men brimming with bravado, armed with riot shields and batons, marched straight upstairs. The property management dormitory was on the 17th floor of Building 4. It had originally belonged to an old man with no family, and after he passed away, the property management had commandeered it as a dorm. In the elevator, Wang Yo rallied his men. Once we're up there, don't hold back. They'll take the fall for anything. We've got connections up top. Got it. Got it. Got it. Right, just go all out. We've got people upstairs. Wang Yo bragged arrogantly, pulling a switchblade from his pocket. He had it all planned. He'd hold the knife to Chen Hao's throat, slap him across the face, and see if he could still act so tough. But as the elevator doors opened, Wang Yo and his security guards were stunned. A perfectly square, massive stone was blocking the doorway, completely sealing it shut. What the hell is this? Wang Yo stabbed at it with his switchblade. With a clang, the blade immediately bent. The other guards also struck the stone with their batons, but it didn't even chip. Instead, their hands went numb from the recoil. No way. Where the hell did this damn rock come from? Wang Yo kicked it in fury, instantly fracturing his own big. He howled in pain inside the elevator. He never imagined his group had stormed up to settle scores with Chen Hao, only to be trapped in the elevator by a rock, not even laying eyes on him. Fuck. Where the hell did this come from? Why didn't anyone notify the property management? Wang Yo fumed, just as Chen Hao sent him a message. Are you here yet? Slowpoke, slower than a turtle. Damn it. If it weren't for this stupid rock, I'd have already stabbed you in the kidney. Wang Yo cursed incessantly. The more furious he grew, the more it highlighted his impotence. Just then the other guards began to brainstorm. Brother Wang, since this elevator's blocked, we can take the other one. Or just use the stairs. I refuse to believe he can haul up a second rock. Exactly. A rock this heavy. He's lucky to have moved one. There's no way he got a second. Right? Wang Yo thought it over. A stone this massive. It was already a feat for Chen Hao to get one up here, let alone a... So Wang Yo waved his hand and led the guards to the 31st floor in the elevator, planning to switch to another one. But when the doors opened, they were stunned again. The very stone they'd sworn Chen Hao couldn't possibly bring a second of stood right before them. There really was a second one, and it looked exactly like the first. Fuck. Can someone explain to me? Wang Yo punched the stone in rage, and with a crack his fist fractured as well. But the guards were utterly dumb. Wang Yo punched the stone in rage, and with a crack his fist fractured as well. But the guards were utterly dumb. A rock this size weighed several tons at least. And this was the 31st floor. Even if you wanted to move it, it was absolutely impossible. Unless you used a crane, right? It must be Chen Hao the bastard. He secretly set up a crane on the 32nd floor. His room opens onto the rooftop, and since he hired a bunch of bodyguards recently, he must have moved them up then. I think so too. There's no other explanation. A rock that big. The guards all spoke with conviction, still believing this could be explained scientifically. After all, many rich folks like to use cranes to hoist luxury cars or rocks onto rooftops, flaunting that money could buy anything. But Wang Yo was livid. He didn't want to hear how Chen Hao had moved the rock, so what he cared about was whether he could get a stab at it. So can anyone tell me if there's a third one up here? Well, probably not. None of the guards sounded so sure anymore. Usually if you could hoist 2 rocks up, you could certainly hoist a third. But that wasn't the answer Wang Yo wanted to hear. Yet Wang Yo's stubbornness flared up. If he couldn't get a stab at Chen Hao today, he'd never vent his anger. Fine. Chen Hao, you're something. You're damn good. But I refuse to believe you can conjure up 10 or 8 rocks. But soon Wang Yo had to face reality, because Chen Hao had indeed brought 10 or 8 massive rocks. Not only were the elevator entrances on the 31st and 32nd floors blocked, but even the stairway on the 31st floor was sealed off. This meant Chen Hao had taken over the 31st and 32nd floors. Damn it. Damn it. Damn it. Wang Yo cursed without pause. In his 30-plus years of life, he had never felt so humiliated. You lot. Tell me, what do we do now? Whoever can get me up there gets to be security captain. Hearing about the promotion to security captain, the sycophantic guards all perked up. Many of them were barely in. Salary didn't matter. What mattered was bossing people around. After all, what man didn't enjoy lording over others? So soon someone stepped forward with a suggestion. Brother Wang, we don't have to go up ourselves. We can make him come out on his own. Oh, what do you mean? Spill. Wang Yo vaguely remembered the speaker. a sports graduate named Li Jian who always had a few cunning ideas up his sleeve. Li Jian chuckled. We can stir up the homeowners, get them to drive Chen Hao out. Chen Hao's not popular anyway, so if we pull a few strings we can definitely provoke him into coming out. And how do we can do this and that. After hearing Li Jian's plan, Wang Yo's lips curled into a grin, and he exclaimed, good. 3 times in a row. Good, good, good. Let's follow your plan. Force that bastard out. Giving up so soon. How dull. I thought with all that bluster you'd at least make it to my living room. Hearing the silence outside, Chen Hao quickly sent Wang Yo a message. He detested seeing people quit halfway. Wang Yo, however, merely darkened his face at the message and did not reply. Then he shot a glance at the others. Make a move. Force that bastard Chen Hao out. All right. A few minutes later, a message exploded in the community group chat. Which lunatic parked their car at the underground garage exit? Your car's fine, but what about ours? As the message appeared, a short video followed. At the garage entrance, a car sat on the ramp, with water cascading down, already nearly submerging the tires of other vehicles. As the message appeared, a short video followed. At the garage entrance, a car sat on the ramp, with water cascading. The water's already calf deep. If we don't get the cars out, the engines are done for. Holy crap. Whose car is this? Move it. Damn it, may he have no air. His car matters, but ours don't. Whose car is it? Just as the owners erupted, a property management account pointed the finger straight at Chen Hao. I remember that's Chen Hao's car. Chen Hao. After a stunned pause, the owners exploded even more. In their eyes moments ago, Chen Hao had been hypocritically cursing the property management for negligence, then secretly moved his car to the ramp to avoid the water without informing anyone. What else could he be but a scumbag? So hundreds of owners bombarded Chen Hao without a second thought. Chen Hao, move your junk car now, or I'll sue you. Damn. Thousands of cars in this garage. Your 5 million won't cover a fraction. Get down here. And mentioning the 5 million only fueled envy, and their words turned sharp and venomous. Chen Hao, you rich bastard with no conscience. Get down here and move your car, or well, smash it. Yeah, or pay up. Whatever our cars are worth, you'll compensate. Come out. Come out. Don't be a cat. Wang Yo and Li Jian, lurking in the shadows, watched the group's fury with smug grins. If Chen Hao didn't show up, now he'd never have a place in this community again. Unfortunately, Chen Hao never yielded to threats. He saw through the instigation instantly, but didn't bother proving his innocence. After all, clearing one's name was far harder than slinging mud, and the truth often mattered little. So Chen Hao simply fanned the flames. What? You want to smash my car? I'm telling you, the garage has cameras. Anyone who dares will report them with the footage. Seeing Chen Hao not only refused to move his car, but was also so arrogant some couldn't hold back, especially since had already reported several people before, including their own kin. New grudges mixed with old, igniting everyone's rage. Damn it. Smash his car. Let's see him act tough. Yeah. Smash it. Smash it. Go ahead and smash it. If you don't, you're all cowards. He'll despise you every time I see. Seeing Chen Hao not only failed to extinguish the fire, but instead stoked it, Wang Yo was dumbfounded. Since Chen Hao had no car in the lot, whose car was that at the entrance? It was Wang Yo's own. Now a crowd was charging to smash his car. What could he do? Step out and risk getting beaten alongside his vehicle? Or stay put? But that was Wang Yo's brand new car. In a moment of hesitation, Wang Yo watched on the surveillance feed as a mob wielding tools rained blows on. Wang Yo vaguely remembered the speaker. Wang Yo tried to stand, but saw Black collapsing back into his chair. Li Jian, who had masterminded the scheme, barely dared to breathe, fearing Wang Yo would remember whose idea it was. But as Wang Yo weakened and Li Jian stayed silent, a message from Chen Hao arrived. Just one line. Lost both your wife and your army. Ha! Arg! Wang Yo roared in fury, then blacked out and fainted on the sofa. As for Chen Hao, seeing no reply from Wang Yo for ages, he knew he was right. The mastermind behind this was Wang. The goal, of course, was to force him downstairs to deal with him. Too bad a car is like a wife. If it's not yours, why would you care? Even if you send 100 or 1,000 people, I still won't care. Besides trying to guilt trip me. If I have no morals, how can you bind me? Chen Hao chuckled disdainfully, grabbed a bag of chips, and continued watching the group chat. After all, as had thought earlier, he should cherish having neighbors. Soon they'd all be dead. In the community group, excitement was unprecedented. They had just dismantled Chen Hao's car. Many were still boasting about their righteous deed. Chen Hao, this is the price of your selfishness. Even if you call the cops, they'll side with us. Ignore him, he's just a lottery nouveau riche. 5 million, not 5 billion, yet acts so arrogant. Where is he? Why so quiet? His car's been wrecked, and he won't even say a word. Scared, speechless, huh? Chen Hao, say something. Come out. Come out. Watching these people, oblivious to the severity, still Chen Hao thought it was time to rattle them. Smashing the car was cool, but what if I told you today's rain is toxic? One sentence plunged the group into dead silence. How did these people reach the garage? They waited. If the water was toxic, they'd been soaking in poison for half an hour. You're lying. This is just normal rain, how could it be toxic? Hey, didn't you know? Normal rain is also toxic, just less so. This time the toxicity is quite high. Impossible. Absolutely impossible. You're fearmongering. Chen Hao spreading rumors has legal Don't listen to his nonsense. Who hasn't been caught in the rain? Who's ever died from it? Exactly. He's not even bothering to make his lies sound real. Do they think we're fools? Yet as everyone vehemently denied it, a timid voice emerged in the group. This rain does seem a bit off. And they attached a picture. A cactus on the balcony had turned black but cacti were the easiest plants to keep. Suddenly, everyone realized a grave truth. This downpour was truly toxic.